behind the arc.
So where do the points come from for A&M? Since they struggle scoring, where do they come from? Maybe it's a pace of play. They just put on a half-court trap. Drew Smith with kind of a quick shot, but Tigers get the possession back.
Drew Buggs running the point. Hawaii's all-time assist leader with 437 dimes in his career before transferring to Missouri. There is Pickett, who in the second half is putting on a show.
Yeah, he's a difference maker. Again, off the bounce, because he can just be aggressive and attack. He's getting it right to the rim, point blank.
Taking over team honors with 12 points, 5 out of 7 from the field for Javon Pickett.
Capable offensive player. Maybe not night in, night out, but he is a guy that can score double figures. Will make a outside shot now and then, but it's usually the going to the rim, whether it's on a break or in a half-court set. And when all eyes are on teammates because of the scouting report, Pickett can kind of pick and choose and get in between. He had 14 points in that Illinois victory, although every year he's an Illinois kid. He plays great against the Illini.
You know, a number to keep an eye on if you're a Missouri fan is when Pickett hits double figures, that usually means success, as the Tigers are 10-1 over the last 2 years. When Pickett hits double figures, he sits at 12 this afternoon. And a turnover will give it to the Aggies. Turnovers have not been an issue here in the second half, as much as they were in the first half for Missouri. Akonzo Martin, I don't know, he says, he goes, some teams you just kind of live with them a little bit, That's just the style of play. I still think he's turning inside every time he goes out of bounds.
Well, you live with it because they're a veteran team, but you don't understand it because they're a veteran team. Now, second half, they only have 2 turnovers.
Diarra upset with one of his teammates. It's like Hefner, the freshman.
That's one where he thinks the guy should have been in a certain spot, but the guy wasn't in a certain spot, and you still threw it there. So, freshman mistakes, turnovers, no shot attempts. Tough to come back if you don't get shot attempts.
The follow by Tillman off the miss from Watson. The exclamation point on Jeremiah Tillman's afternoon. He's now up to 12 with 7, make that 8 rebounds.
Yeah, he'll be close, and he's closing in on a double-double, another double-double.
An 11-point game. Boy, just a costly turnover again by the Aggies. Nice bounce pass. There's Mitchell Smith. Hammered as he throws it down. Boy, Missouri off and running now, Sonny.
Tigers powerful the second half, defensively, offensively. Mitchell Smith with a dunk. Tigers up 11.
Hi.
Happy anniversary.
For what?
Every year you're with us, you get $50 toward your home deductible. It's a policy perk for being a Farmer's customer.
Really? Do I have to do anything?
Nothing.
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 Nothing?
Nothing.
That really is something.
You get a whole lot of something with Farmer's policy perks. See ya.
May I have a balloon too?
Sure. Your parents have maintained a Farmer's home policy for 12 consecutive months, right?
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Businesses are always making choices. Here's a choice you don't have to make. The largest 5G network, award-winning customer satisfaction, or insanely great value. Now with T-Mobile for Business, there's no compromise. Network, support, value. Choose all 3. T-Mobile for Business. Ready when you are.
Let's take a look at today's Protection Spotlight, brought to you by Allstate. Jeremiah Tillman, front and center in this one.
Domination all game long. Inside, he has been powerful offensively, but defensively, blocking shots, rebounding, putbacks offensively. He has been the guy that on a stat sheet and a scouting report, opponents say, okay, we've got to limit what he's doing. Well, tonight or this afternoon, 12 points, 8 rebounds. Pretty much has controlled whatever he wanted to do inside, 5 of 6 from the field. A couple turnovers, a couple assists, a couple block shots.
Jeremiah last year fought through some injuries early on, and I think there were times mentally he wasn't, even though the doctor said he could play, was ready to go. I just don't think mentally he felt healthy, that his body would hold up, but he is healthy right now. And it's led Missouri to this 13-point advantage with 11:20 to go in this game. And you get a glimpse at why this team has been able to have some big wins, why they are ranked 17th in the country. They're 26th in the net, the NCAA standard for which they measure college basketball teams, at 7-2, and trying to even their conference mark at 2-2 if they can hold on here with 11:20 to go.
They have 4 quad 1 net wins, and when you think of that, you go, wow, there aren't many teams that are doing that. Gonzaga's done it, Kansas, Oklahoma State, and Missouri, and Houston. So there's 5 teams with 4 quad 1 net wins. So what they built with a schedule, with a veteran team coming back, we already mentioned that 88% of their scoring coming back, a team that Cuonzo Martin thought last year probably could have competed close to an SEC championship. A few injuries here and there and a couple losses derailed that move, but same guys coming back, a veteran squad. He seems comfortable. Again, we talked about it yesterday and played in 11 days. He had COVID issues. Some coaches harp on it. He said, hey, we're good. A little bit of a break for our guys. They all got good work in. They're all still in shape. So when you have that and confidence from your coaching staff, that translates down to players, and they seem very comfortable going on the road. We talked about the big win at Arkansas. They had a neutral site win against Oregon. And so it's pretty confident that this team, that's why they're ranked 17th and in the top 20 the last 5 weeks.
By the way, Sonny, that Kevin Marfo was assessed a flagrant on that foul, pushing Mitchell Smith in the back on that dunk, and thus the 2 free throws. So a 4-point play for Mitchell Smith, and the Tigers get the basketball back. So if they could knock down a 3 here, it'd be a 7-point possession for Mitchell Smith. I don't like him up.
Well, I don't like the call. I thought Marfo was actually trying to catch him as he was trying to make a play on the ball, but officials have to call it the way they see it.
Still think it'd be cool to see a 7-point play, possession by one player. Remember Reggie Miller single-handedly did that one time in an NBA game. Remember that in the playoffs?
Yeah, he kept intercepting and shooting 3.
Yeah.
right in front of Spike Lee, I believe.
That's right. Here's Emmanuel Miller. He turns and fires, and they need to get him going, and they need to get him going now. Just 6 points for the guy averaging 16 a game. That's just his 4th field goal attempt, and I think surprisingly he hasn't been to the free throw line.
Yeah, quiet afternoon for Miller. And again, I think A&M gets bogged down offensively, and I know what coaches try to do. I get it. I get it that they've got to shorten the game and shorten possessions, but you can't now because you're down 16. You've got to find defensive stops against a team that's Missouri playing quite well in the second half. So now some of your scores, whether it's Miller, whether it's Flagg, whether it's Chandler, whether it's Quentin Jackson, you got to do it offensively somehow because they have a scoreboard up there and you're trying to win the game. You're not just trying to make plays.
Emmanuel Miller, by the way, is top 5 in the SEC in free throws attempted and free throws made, 56 of 71. In 11 games this year, but has yet to attempt a foul shot today.
He's 4 games going over 20 points. And he's just been so quiet this afternoon.
J.J. Chandler tapped around, loose ball on the floor. It'll belong to the Aggies. Good hustle on the floor from Luke McGee, the junior out of San Antonio. 6'11". Keeps the possession alive and gets some high five on the way back to the bench. JJ going baseline, spins into a double team. Jackson lays it off for Savion Flagg for the dunk.
So you had two guys there that are pretty good off the ball with the dribble, Chandler and Jackson, and they need some more of that because it's more of an attacking way to play.
At the elbow, Mitchell Smith can't get it to go. Foul against the Tigers.
I know it's been a quiet afternoon for Quentin. Jackson has not scored, but if he takes it off the dribble, he can be effective. Drop off, easy bucket for Flagg. We'll see if that gets the Aggies going a little bit. They've got to get defensive stops. They just got a missed shot by Mitchell Smith. One and done, rebound, go the other way.
Reset the clock. That foul, by the way, on Pickett. That'll be his second. That is just the fourth team foul of the second half against Missouri. A&M, 17 fouls, so free throws for Missouri the rest of the day. Missouri led by 3 at halftime, 27-24. They have outscored Texas A&M by 11 here in the second half. Here's Gordon. Quentin Jackson. Jackson scoreless, 0 for 7 from the floor, averaging over 11 a game. 3 on the shot clock. Miller had it stripped. 1 gets the shot off, and they're going to say shot clock violation. Good defensive stand by the Tigers.
Yeah, terrific. And active hands by Drew Smith. Every time the dribbler was around Drew Smith, he got his hand on it to poke it away. And all that does is let that shot clock keep winding down. Aggies didn't even get a shot attempt.
Kobe Brown. Here's Pickett. Off to Pinson. Shot clock at 5. Pinson launches. Back-to-back shot clock violations.
Yeah, good defense there by J.J. Chandler. Pinson got stuck on the dribble. And if you do, there's nowhere to go when you got a quick defender in front of you. 4th shot. And Missouri, I like early offensive the set. They were moving the basketball side to side, trying to get some more motion, trying to get this Aggie team stretched out a bit. Still have to take shots when they become available, even at 8 minutes left.
Gordon.
Because, Dave, if you don't, the home team can get a little bit of a run going, a little bit of an energy in the building.
See what the Aggies do here. Down a dozen. Little seam in that defense, and Gordon got the friendly roll. Back-to-back baskets for Andre Gordon. They have cut this down to 10. The largest lead was 18 just a moment ago.
Well, Andre Gordon has been the guy off the dribble. 17 points the second half. Can he bring his Aggies back? We'll see.
Shall I put her in snow mode?
Nope.
How about off-road mode?
Why?
You know what? I'll be in chill mode.
ProPilot Assist with NaviLink. Available on the all-new Nissan Rogue.
To support a strong immune system, your body needs routine. Centrum helps your immune defenses every day with vitamin C, D, and zinc. Season after season. Ace your immune support with Centrum.
You say goodbye, and I say hello.
With Mercari,
Hello, hello.
your unneeded things can find a new life.
I know why you say goodbye, and I say hello.
It's easy to make some money
Hello.
or find a great deal.
You say goodbye, and I say hello. Hello, goodbye, hello, goodbye.
Buy and sell almost anything from home. Mercari, your marketplace.
Freezing cold. Blazing heat. Rain-X premium silicone wiper blades are engineered to withstand the most extreme conditions. They last 2 times longer than traditional wipers. If Rain-X premium silicone wipers survive these conditions, clearly they'll last in yours. Rain-X, outsmart the elements. Find Rain-X silicone wipers at these retailers.
All right, guys, time now for a quick studio update. Kentucky taking on Auburn. How about Sharif Cooper finding Devin Cambridge for the alley-oop? We got to see that one again. That would help Auburn get a little bit of juice. Right now, Kentucky leads 11-8. A pretty ugly game, though, shooting-wise. 8 for 38 combined between these two teams. 11 turnovers so far, guys. David Sunny, back to you.
Thanks, Alyssa. Two important additions in the league. Sharif, obviously, one of those. Katie Johnson at Georgia, another one. Two guys that can certainly put the ball in the basket. Interesting to see how teams end up playing them, right? Because there wasn't a whole lot of tape on what they can do. But now with Cooper, you've got a few games, right, to kind of figure out what makes him uncomfortable. So it'll be interesting to see if those guys continue to score at the rate they have been in their first few games on the floor for their respective teams.
Well, Cooper's been phenomenal. He's already my player of the year, but we've got a long way to go, let's be honest. We got a long way to go.
He's only so played a couple of games, Sonny. He's already your player of the year.
Just two, but I know, when you're in Bruce Pearl's system, the point guard gets to handle the basketball and do most things with it. So I think he'll be spectacular.
Okay, all right. There's Kobe Brown. Nice strong move. Kobe to the basket. Kobe now with 7 points.
That was a much-needed bucket for this Tiger team. Give up a few buckets, give up a few points. The lead narrows down to around that 10 margin. You don't want to get it under 10 if you're Missouri. A&M had a little more rhythm. Now they bogged down a little bit against a good defensive team.
J.J. Chandler as the shot clock horn sounds. Drew Smith. Right to Kobe Brown. Fouled, and he'll head to the free throw line.
Another big bucket by Brown. Again, in the half-court defense, you've got to be able to stop the ball from getting in the lane. And Drew Smith took it off the bounce. Ends up in Kobe Brown's hand. Another finish, 2 in a row. Keeps the lead comfortable.
Second foul on J.J. Chandler as he slapped Brown across the wrist. Kobe looking for point number 10 here at the free throw line. Kobe 60% at the free throw line this year. Clanks it off the back of the rim. Dillman closes off the baseline. Here's Drew Smith. Lays it up and in.
Active hands defensively. Bad pass from Diarra. Leads to an easy bucket. Missouri stretches the lead out again, but Andre Gordon having a terrific game for the Aggies.
Gordon now with 19 points. His high this year was 18 against UT Rio Grande Valley, and surpasses that here today. That shot was blocked. The Aggies want to goaltend.
And how about the hustle? How about the hustle from Tillman? That was a steal out top, a break to the other end, and Tillman runs, chases it down, and look how the timing. A long way from the rim. I think pretty good block. Good hustle by the big.
5:27 to go in this one. Lead is 12. Was as large as 18 here in the second half. Aggies cut it to 10 a couple of times. Crossover. And then a hard foul on J.J. Chandler. Kobe Brown throws him to the deck, and he'll head to the free throw line.
And How good is Chandler off the dribble? Senior, had a great sophomore season, about 8 points a game, but he's shifty, 91% free throw shooter. Left-handed, can go either direction, but his hesitation dribble gets guys on their heels, and then he can explode.
Hey, tonight the SEC Now team wraps up a full day of hoops with all the highlights, breakdowns, and interviews with players and coaches. 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central. It's right after South Carolina LSU here on this very network and, of course, on the ESPN app. Now, Sonny, I got to go back to something you said. Sharife Cooper already 2 games in, your player of the year in the league. What about Cam Thomas at LSU, another freshman? He's played a bunch of games.
Yeah, he's got dudes around him, though. Cam's got all these dudes around. He's been fine. I mean, see, no one stands out yet for me. So I had to go with a guy. It's early. He's only played 2 games. But what about Lawson at South Carolina's had 1 game at 30. So, you know what?
Right.
We got a long way to go. I'm just saying that.
But right now you're going with Cooper's your guy. Until he loses it, he's your guy.
Correct. The average is about 25 a game and 10 assists a game. And I think he's kind of unstoppable. Now, it sounds like there's a tractor pull going on in the Auburn game. That's a low-scoring game. And we'll see that. I'll see that one later.
It's 11-8 with 6 minutes to go in Kentucky-Auburn game. 11-8.
Because you would think that would be a up and down, high scoring. Yeah. No, I think of, you bring up Cam Thomas, who's been terrific. So let's think of LSU, high scoring team. Cam Thomas, Trendon Watford, Javonte Smart. They get most of the hype, most of the pub. But to me, the X factor, Darius Days is about 14 points, 9 rebounds, a couple steals a game, shooting 40% from threes. I mean, they have so many weapons, and he's the guy that's not really getting the attention.
Right.
I don't know if there's a standout one guy from anywhere in this league yet. But I look at that LSU team and go, wow, they've got a lot of offensive weapons.
Nice little floater by Drew Smith.
Tough shot.
To kind of summarize where the league is right now, Alabama clearly sitting out up front, right? And expectations are that they're good enough to hold on to this. They haven't won an SEC regular season crown since 2002, so it's been a while. But I would venture to say with LSU and their experience, and even Will Wade said this is the most fun he's had coaching a basketball team that he's had since as he's been a head coach because they've got so many things. I think this is going to be a very interesting race to the finish line. I wouldn't just assume Alabama is going to be the team, even though they're out front right now.
Yeah, there's a long way to go. We look at this Missouri team that defends like they defend, and eventually at some point the shooters that shoot it well for Missouri, if they start shooting it better, they're a team that will be right up there. Don't sleep yet on the Florida team. I don't know if Keontae Johnson will come back to play. Nobody has said he will or won't. Scotty Lewis will be back. This is a wide-open league. Can LSU defend well enough? Well, they did when they played Ole Miss. They were spectacular. And again, let's not forget about Kentucky. They're just a team that wants to hang around. They're athletic enough. They defend well enough. I think it'll be a race to the end. Right now, there's 6 teams projected in the NCAA. We'll see if that improves. If you get to that SEC tournament, it could be wide open and fun.
Mark Smith finally gets off the schneid to knock home that 3. He was 0 for 5 from behind the arc and had really been struggling. Was 4 for his last 23 before getting that one to go down.
And very good rhythm jump shot. And Drew Smith with another steal. He is active, one of the best defenders in the league. But Mark Smith got it in rhythm. Moving to his left, wasn't standing still when he caught it. Has a movement, knocked it in.
Tigers up by 15 on the road. Just 3:44 to go. Can they hold on? They're looking pretty good right now.
My body is truly powerful.
I have the power to lower my A1C.
Because my body can still make its own insulin.
And Trulicity activates my body to release it.
Lowering my blood sugar from the first dose. Once weekly Trulicity responds when my body needs it 24/7. Trulicity is for type 2 diabetes. It's not insulin.
It isn't for people with type 1 diabetes. Don't take Trulicity if you're allergic to it. You or your family have medullary thyroid cancer or have multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. Stop Trulicity and call your doctor right away if you have an allergic reaction, a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, changes in vision, or diabetic retinopathy. Serious side effects may include pancreatitis. Taking Trulicity with sulfonylurea or insulin raises low blood sugar risk. Side effects include indigestion, fatigue, belly pain, decreased appetite, nausea, diarrhea, and vomiting, which can lead to dehydration and may worsen kidney problems.
I have it within me to lower my A1C.
Ask your doctor about Trulicity.
(65-50) Missouri out in front of Texas A&M. Dave Neal, John Sunbolt, 3:44 to go in this one. Missouri has been led today by a couple of guys. Drew Smith with 14. You get dozen from Pickett, but really Tillman underneath with 9 rebounds, 12 points in the first half. Kind of carried him on his shoulders.
Yeah, he's been the force inside. He's been someone that A&M has not been able to match up with, whether he's in the low post offensively double-teamed and splits it and scores, whether he's got offensive rebounds and putbacks, a few block shots. He's just been a hard matchup for this A&M squad. And when Jeremiah Tillman does this, which he has done these numbers, in conference play, this Tiger team is tough to beat. He was spectacular on the road at Arkansas. He was solid, and he played a great first half against Mississippi State. Did not have a big second half. They didn't really go to him in the second half against Mississippi State. But then this afternoon, a few early touches opens up that offense for this Missouri team.
Our player of the game brought to you by our friends at Zaxby. Zaxby's. I think we'll get a little Zaxby's on the way home for player of the game, right?
That sounds pretty good.
Savion Flagg, nice spin move. Up and under, and he is fouled by Kobe Brown. And for Brown, that'll be number 4 there.
Missouri foul number 24, Kobe Brown. That is his 4th. 18 foul call against the Tigers.
Savion Flagg can't get that free throw to go. Savion, 76%. Career 62% foul shooter. Savion Flagg trying to find some rhythm here as his career at Texas A&M. It's in its senior season. Of course, a couple of those years under the direction of Billy Kennedy. Actually, he was recruited by Virginia Tech staff when Buzz Williams was at Virginia Tech, coming out of high school. So when they got here, this staff, they were quite familiar with Savion and what he could do.
You know, taking a look at the numbers, A&M has 16 turnovers in this ball game, and Missouri has 14. But Missouri only has 4 turnovers in the second half. They've protected the basketball. They've shot a higher percentage in the second half. They're at 57% from the field in the second half of the field goal, which is a high number against an A&M type defense.
And a whistle will stop with 2:32 on the clock. Missouri today has, after what was a really slow start offensively shooting the basketball, they're up to 51% from the floor, and they're shooting 57% here in the second half.
For Jackson Robinson section for Texas A&M, replacing Quentin Jackson.
Even Aggies shooting the ball better in the second half at 50%, but they're shooting at 37% for the game. That's how bad it was in the first half for Texas A&M.
I think the value for Cuonzo Martin and his coaching staff is there's trust with the bench players for production. It doesn't have to be every game. Cuonzo will play a number of players, but on certain afternoons or certain nights, it doesn't have to be one guy. It can be different people, and that's what this bench brings. This afternoon, it's been Pickett with 12 points, who really He made a 3 and a driving bucket for a 2 in that first half that led to a 10-0 run that gave the Tigers a lead. Just certain minutes of certain stretches of a game, if you've got guys that can come with energy off the bench and produce something, especially in the offensive end, because we know there are a lot of good defensive teams in this league. But you've got to have someone be able to put points on the board and score on the offensive end.
Manuel Miller made that last shot, just 9 points for Miller. Missouri's done a nice job taking him out of his normal game today. Miller does have 7 rebounds, right around his average, but averaging 16, over 16 a game, and Miller sits on 9. Only 6 shot attempts, and I think that maybe the bigger number of this is just 2 free throws.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier, his ability to get to the free throw line, but he has been very quiet. Good job by Missouri, the scouting report. And not only the scouting report from the coaches, but the players interpreting it and listening to it, reading it, and going through it and be ready for the game. A quiet game for Manuel Miller, who's not had many quiet games in his sophomore season. We already mentioned he's 10 points higher this season in average, from 6 to 16. You know, Drew Smith is such a good on-ball defender. You don't get many angles on him as long as he doesn't reach and pick up fouls. He's got active hands, comes up with a lot of steals. But that play, that right there, Andre Gordon, who's had a good game, but that's just a solo move against a solo good defender. And you come up with a miss, and to a coaching staff like Missouri, they're going to praise Drew Smith because it is. It's terrific defense.
Mitchell Smith swinging around to Drew Smith. Now Bugs.
Here's where you basically just kind of grind an offensive possession, right? Make a defense keep moving, keep guarding cuts. Allow time to wear off even if you miss the shot. Let the time run down. Make A&M come down, see if they have to spend time getting the shot off.
Boy, after 27 points in the first half for Missouri, they've put up 41 here in the second half.
And Dave, that's a lot of points in the style of game that A&M is almost forcing you to play, right? That is a ton of points with this kind of style, but they got to the free throw line more in the second half. They got nine free throw attempts. They shot the ball better from the field. And they defended. A&M is a team that doesn't score a lot. Offensive weapons aren't a bunch.
Texas A&M sitting on 52 points, be a season low for the Aggies. By the way, before we get out of here, I don't know if he's watching or not, but we want to send our best to Frank Martin, South Carolina's head coach, for the second time. Zapped with COVID. Said this time around it's gotten him pretty good. He won't be with his team today, obviously, so all the best out to one of our favorites in any sport, Frank Martin. Yep. 68.
Here. Hope he's doing well. Hope he's doing well.
Score. And South Carolina back on the court later today after they've battled through their COVID issues. And listen, Texas A&M, this is a team, this is how they're going to have to play, right? They don't have the offensive firepower. So this is what they're going to have to do. They just can't allow teams to score 68 points because Texas A&M doesn't really have that in them.
Yeah, they've got to make it ugly. And Missouri, they were ugly for a while, right? That first probably 17 minutes of the first half. But Missouri got going, pushed the ball a little bit, got avenues. Again, I thought Pickett opened up the game, opened up the offense when he got in the game because he was so aggressive with the ball. Dave, I was thinking coming into today, the road teams were 15 and 14 in league play. Georgia won at Ole Miss 16 and 14. Missouri's going to win today 17 and 14 road teams over home teams in SEC play. Now,
it's crazy.
There's a big difference when there aren't fans in the stands, no emotion. An opponent, when you go on the road, there's nobody screaming at you, yelling, things like that, and the emotion that a home team can get energy when a crowd gets them going when you get on a 4-point, 6-point, 8, 10-point run. It's not there during this COVID time.
And wouldn't you know it, turnover gives it back to Missouri with just 13 seconds left to go. That is turnover number 17 against Texas A&M, and Missouri will just run out the clock here, I would assume. They'll Next up, take on South Carolina. That'll be coming your way Tuesday on this network, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Meanwhile, for Texas A&M, they will be at Vanderbilt. But a good win for Missouri. They had to rebound from some COVID issues. It was 11 days between games, but yet they are 27-0 when they hold their opponents under 60 points under Conzo Martin. They do it again today.
Yeah, solid win, another road win. They've won 4 of 5 away from Mizzou Arena. So this Tiger team is for real, a top 20 team.
They go to 8-2, 2-2 in conference. Texas A&M now 7-5. They are 2-4. And with that, that'll be it for John Sunvold and the rest of our crew. I'm Dave Neal saying so long from Bryan College Station. Let's get you to the studio.
Thank you, guys. Nice win for the Missouri Tigers, but it's on to the next one. About 36 minutes away from tip-off between Arkansas and Alabama, two teams who we know can score a lot of points. Can Alabama stay perfect in conference play? They're 5-0 right now. We're going to find out in about 30 minutes as we welcome you into SEC Now. Alyssa Lang, Damian Fishback, and Pat Bradley here with you guys. Let's talk the first half of this game. Certainly an impressive performance from Missouri in a game that was very back and forth in the first half.
I thought it was a quality answer by the Missouri Tigers. So we talked about Texas A&M and how well they are defensively, and they showed that in the second half.
A big part of Missouri's success was Jeremiah Tillman. He finished the day with 14 points in the win, and he joins us right here on SEC Now. Jeremiah, thanks so much for being here with us. What was the key to your guys' performance today and getting the win?
We just wanted to come out there and play hard. Last game didn't go as we planned, so we just made sure we had to capitalize off that, even though we had a break. So we just made sure we was like getting our rest, and this game meant a lot to us because we was coming off a loss.
Jeremiah, you know, I had your game in Mississippi State, and I thought you all played one of the better games that I've seen you play all year in the first half, but you let down and Mississippi State was able to come back in the second half. What does the leadership of this team say when you all have games like that, and how did that lead to your response versus Texas A&M today?
We too old to be learning from mistakes like that. We can't let those type of things happen. Like I said, we are an older team. So when we came out in that second half against Mississippi State, we wasn't coming out with that same energy. So we had to make sure we came out with the same energy both halves this game, even though regardless of how tired we was, we just made sure we left it all out there.
Jeremiah, you guys just got a nice win on the road. SEC teams are 17-14 in road games this year. What do you see as the difference? Is there anything different going on the road this year than in years past?
Yeah, it's a lot different because it ain't as many fans, and you can't get all the momentum that you need off the crowd energy. So basically, it really don't feel like a home court advantage. So that helped both teams.
Jeremiah, I want to hit you on your leadership again. You talked about this being a veteran team. I know you specifically take a lot of that leadership role. What do you say to these guys during the week, during games, to make sure you're doing what you need to do as far as winning games the rest of the season?
Just making sure we all locked in. Making sure we're not playing around when it's time to focus. We can play off the court, but on the court, it's time to just lock in. Like I said, we are an older team. We don't have too many games to be trying to learn from mistakes. We can't do that this year. We didn't did that in the previous years. So we're just trying to make sure we all hold each other accountable.
Jeremiah, you talked about playing around, but you didn't play around today. You had a double-double, man. So what have you done this season and even in the offseason to continue to improve upon your basketball game?
Just making sure I'm taking care of my body. Being mentally strong, physically strong. My mental thing was the biggest thing for me this year because in the past years I've been worried about the wrong things on the court, and this year I've been focused on the right things, and it's just been helping me stay calm and just not worrying about if I'm getting pushed around and complaining to the refs. I'm not really worrying about no fouls. I'm just out there to play and just going hard.
Jeremiah, you've obviously been a very unselfish player, but Coach Martin and your teammates, they always talk to you about getting big, right? Demanding the ball.
Yes,
What mentality was that process for you, or the thought process of going into games demanding the ball on the post like you did today?
I'm a big man. That's something it should be second nature for me. And me, I'd be too casual. If they miss me, then I'll wait to say something later. But my coaches rather me get on them right then and there, and I was just too busy like being nonchalant and like they'll get it to me next time. But this year, I've stepped up and made sure that if they miss me or something like that, I'll holler at them. I talk to them right there and there.
Jeremiah, like you said, a big game today, another double-double. So I have to know, what was the pregame routine for you today? How do we recreate this? What was in the headphones as you were getting ready for this one today?
Honestly, the past couple of games, I ain't even been having no routine. I just been doing the same thing. I'm just chilling. I'm not having too much energy before the game. I'm just relaxed before the game and just making sure I do everything the exact same way as far as coming out the locker room before pregame, all that stuff. I don't even listen to music no more before the game. I just be chilling.
A pro's pro. Just chilling. Just chilling and putting up double-doubles. Jeremiah Tillman, thanks so much for joining us. Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
I don't know about you guys, but before I do anything like that, I have to listen to some sort of music, but maybe I need to stop and embrace my inner Jeremiah Tillman.
Jeremiah, huh?
Pat Bradley, I know you were talking about Mr. Tillman at halftime. What impressed you the most about him today?
Well, it was what he just said, how he's engaged now. And I do appreciate when he says when his teammates miss him now, he addresses it right away. He says, hey, little fella, get me the ball when I run down. And you saw him sprinting to the block, getting big, and he's using that great footwork, and he's got great hands. He is the difference for this Missouri team, Fish, because they can throw it to him in the post. He can kick it out for a three, or he can finish, and he gets to the free throw line, puts a lot of pressure on the defense.
Yeah, and from now on, Pat, if you talk too long or if I don't get a chance, I'm going to address it right away and make sure I let you know. No, I love the fact that he's really displaying and exemplifying what's made this Missouri team good. Sunbo talked about it, the fact that they've got 4+ quad one wins in a year where he mentioned some of those other teams, Kansas, Oklahoma State, Houston. So this is a team that still isn't getting the respect that they deserve. And one of the reasons why they've been able to continue to produce wins is because of that leadership that Coach Cuonzo Martin and the Missouri Tigers have had.
Fish, just talking to Jeremiah, you can tell the expectations are so high. As you look at the rest of the year, where do you think the ceiling is for this Missouri team?
Listen, I think Coach Cuonzo Martin wants to compete for championships like any team in the SEC expects, which is why you see such a competitive league. Now, the question is, can they get that done? I think they have the talent, they have the leadership, they have the experience and coaches to do that. But it's going to be competitive. You look at Alabama's start, you look at Tennessee's start, you always have Kentucky. It's going to be a long road, but I think that would be their ceiling, is trying to get an SEC championship.
You mentioned Alabama, a team that has had great success so far this season. They've got a big game coming up against Arkansas. Let's talk about this one because, Pat Bradley, there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. What are you looking forward to between the Razorbacks and the Tide?
Well, Fish will remember this. We used to talk about the road recipe an awful lot. So when you go on the road, what do you want to do? You want to take care of the ball. And Alabama is #1 in the league in steals. So right there, the Hogs have got to make sure, value the ball as a priority. The other thing, Alyssa, is high percentage shots. The Hogs lead the SEC in free throws attempted. So they've got to be committed to attacking the paint, high percentage shots. And on the other side, you get a defensive rebound because, as we all know, Alabama, they are going to shoot a high volume of jump shots, long rebounds. So, Fish, for me and my standpoint, it's going to be difficult to try to match Alabama bucket for bucket. So you got to, at times, slow the game down, get to the free throw line.
Yeah, Pat, you talk about that road recipe as much as I talk about my 5 fingers, 1 fist. I love it. No, and I think you're spot on. There are a couple of changes that I look for in this basketball game, and particularly the fact that Bruner's not in this basketball game. You look at Herbert Jones, Jaden Shackelford, John Petty, and then Bruner really have about 57% of their scoring. So with him out of the basketball game, is Alex Reese going to step up? Do you have a guy like Primo that gets more minutes? The question is, who's going to fill up that hole that Bruner had in regards to a frontline player and a guy who could stretch the defense when they had 5 guys to step out and shoot the 3? Herbert Jones, that man you see right there, will continue to be the leader, but I'm anxious to see who else steps up.
Fish, is there something to be said about just the level of confidence that both of these teams are playing with? I mean, I watch Alabama certainly coming off of a win against Kentucky on Tuesday. I know Kentucky is a little different in 2021, but it's still Kentucky. It's still the team to beat in the SEC, and these guys just did it pretty handily. What do you see from a confidence standpoint from these two teams?
I think they have elite confidence in terms of the Crimson Tide right now. Alabama is playing as well as anybody, not just in the SEC, but in the country. Now, they're doing that in spite of not having Quinterly in this basketball game or in previous basketball games. It's always been a next man up mentality. I'm anxious to see, though, because Bruner was a critical piece. He defends. He completes defensive possessions with rebounds. He's also got the versatility to step out and shoot threes. I think Alex Reese has to be a crucial guy in this basketball game. And then for Arkansas, they're still trying to find out what they can do in spite of not having Justin Smith. Vanover will be huge in this basketball game. How does he compete with the speed and pace of this game with him being 7'3"? I'm anxious to see that as well.
I have to ask Shuda about defense. I mean, we've talked enough about scoring so far. PB, what do you want to see defensively from these two teams?
Well, it's no secret that if Alabama is able to get to the paint on the dribble, that's what they want to do, right? They want to, and Coach Oates makes, he lets you know that what we do is we attack the paint. We want to do 1, 2, or 3 attacks each possession, attack for a layup, or we're going to attack, kick for a three-point shot. So for Arkansas, if you cannot contain the ball and you allow them to get in the paint, that's it. It's over. And there's another injury, too. The Hogs have a guard, K.K. Robinson, who would have been very effective defensively, Fish, because if they cannot keep Alabama in front of them, Shackelford, even Herb Jones, John Petty, these guys, John Petty, for instance, has come so far from his freshman year. Now he's willing to put it on the floor for layups and, again, drive and kick threes. So for the Hogs, you've got to be able to defend the dribble, or it's going to be a long night.
And defend without fouling. Coach Eric Musselman had 2 guys who were critical at that last year in Isaiah Joe and Mason Jones. He knows the value of getting to the free throw line. You talked about that method, Pat, of Nate Oates, getting to the free throw line, getting layups, and getting three-pointers. If Arkansas can defend without fouling, get out in transition and knock down some three-point shots, they'll give themselves an opportunity.
What I would add to, Alyssa, for the Hogs offensively, they played a great game against Tennessee at Tennessee. They followed their offensive game plan to perfection nearly, okay? They lost, so it's not that perfect. But what they did was they were committed, much like how Alabama has an identity on offense and they're committed to what they do. The Hogs have got to, Arkansas has got to be committed to their offensive game plan. I'm talking the correct guys taking the correct shots from the correct spots on the floor. All right, you cannot afford to get behind Alabama early, and trying to play catch-up against those guys is not going to work out well for you.
How many points do you think are going to get scored in this one? like 200, 300?
I don't think 200, but I think 160, 170 easy. Both of these teams love to get up and down, and both of them are talented offensively.
Can I get like an exact number so that after this game we can see who was closest?
I'm going 172, Pat Bradley, 172.
181.
Ooh, all right, I'm going to cut it right in the middle and say 176. I don't know if that's right in the middle mathematically, but that's what I'm going to say. And we are going to follow up on this after this game. All right, Alabama, Arkansas set to tip off very soon right here on the SEC Network. This one in progress right now. Kentucky taking on Auburn. Sharif Cooper and company, yeah. He's been doing some good things for his Auburn Tigers. The team started a combined 2 for 26 from the field. Dante Allen here, hitting the 3. Auburn down 7. How about the steal by Devin Cambridge to Cooper?
Get it. Love to see that young man in action. They scored 15 more points in transition with Sharif Cooper in the lineup.
3-point game now. Brandon Boston stepping up, hitting a 3. PB, we like to see that kind of shooting for Kentucky.
Well, I think Kentucky, they've got shooters. It's just they haven't had any rhythm. I think Dante Allen obviously sort of sparked something there for Kentucky's offense, and he's playing fantastic. He gives them a great half-court option.
Allen Flanagan there hitting the corner 3 to give Auburn the lead. Kentucky back up 1. Dante Allen again with the 3. Kentucky would lead 25-21 at the half. We're still in halftime right now between those two. This has definitely been an interesting first half. Obviously very low scoring. We will keep you updated on that one. Fish, when you look at the Kentucky Wildcats, they were able to jump out to a pretty quick lead. It wasn't pretty, but what were your overall takeaways, I guess, from those first 20 minutes?
Well, I was wondering if we showed all the highlights of scoring
it was close.
in our halftime because, oh, my goodness. But it was interesting. I watched Auburn. Auburn started out 1 of 16 from the field and had 4 turnovers, just to show you how stifling Kentucky's defense can be. Kentucky's like a big, strong boxer, like almost like Tyson on the defensive end. When you first come out, you have to get accustomed to their length, to their size, to their athleticism. They have to use that as an advantage. But as time went on, Sharif Cooper got out in transition, and Auburn began to play a little bit better, Pat.
Well, you hit the nail on the head, man, when you talked about Kentucky and their they just got great length. And they got great athletes, obviously. We've come to know that from Kentucky. But one of the things they were able to do effectively is when Sharif Cooper comes off that high ball screen, and we know he can pass it with his left and his right. But Kentucky's length, Lance Ware, Olivier Sarr, those guys, even Isaiah Jackson, they're athletic enough and long enough to guard not only the man that's rolling, but also help on Cooper coming off the screen. So what does Sharif Cooper have to do? Now he has to go to the secondary pass, which is to the wing three-point shot. Unfortunately, Auburn right now is just 2 of 17 from the three-point line. They've gotten some shots, just hadn't made them. So second half, if they can make those shots that they're getting, and a lot of it is Cooper coming off that ball screen and finding the open guy, which he is, they're just not making them.
We'll keep you posted on the score of that one. Like we said, at the half, Kentucky leading 25-21 over the Auburn Tigers. More to come here on SEC Now. We'll take you around the rest of the SEC, get you some updates on Georgia taking on Ole Miss. We'll talk Florida, Mississippi State. That one tips off at 4 o'clock. Plenty still to talk about. South Carolina, LSU as well, doing battle later tonight. How about John Petty Jr. and his Alabama Crimson Tide getting ready to take on the Hogs in about 20 minutes. We'll get you out there in a few.
You have all the ingredients for this in your fridge. But ask yourself this. Of all the times you've made it at home, has it ever tasted like our McMuffin? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
When heartburn takes you by surprise, fight back fast with new Tums Naturals, free from artificial flavors and dyes.
You ready for tonight?
I've been training 3 years for this fight.
You know I'm the greatest.
Minister Malcolm X.
Jim Brown takes the ball.
Sam Cooke.
I was made in America.
I ain't no damn hero.
It's gonna be a target on your back. Welcome to America.
You brothers, you
could move mountains without lifting a finger. Welcome to America.
One Night in Miami. Rated R. Watch now. Only on Prime Video.
Down every road is a story. The farther you go, the more wild and unexpected they get. But those are the ones you remember, and tell and retell. So you need the right machine to find them. A capable machine that's tough and enduring. That's why, when we built the all-new Sorrento, we didn't just build another SUV. We built the world's first storytelling machine.
Pro Extra is the Home Depot's loyalty program built just for pros. Members earn rewards like Tool Rental Center credit or Pro Extra dollars with every purchase. Plus, they get members-only offers. Save time, save money, get rewarded. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Want long-lasting hydration that actually lasts? New Cetaphil Deep Hydration Facial Collection gives your skin lasting 48-hour hydration. From the #1 dermatologist-recommended facial skincare brand.
Our produce standards are more than a label. It's a promise that every fruit on your table was chosen by someone who thinks farmers rule and supported organic before it was cool. There's mighty high standards in that salad bowl because that's what makes us whole.
Welcome back to SEC Now. We are counting down to tip-off between Arkansas and Alabama, a little under 20 minutes away. This is set to be quite the matchup. Two high-scoring teams doing battle right here on the SEC Network. We are looking forward to this one. Let's get you caught up on some of the other action from around the SEC. Georgia taking on Ole Miss earlier today at noon. The Bulldogs looking for their first win in SEC play. Second half, Georgia up 12. Tamani Kamara finds Ty Fagan, who goes up and under for the lay-in. Fagan had 19 on the day. Later, Ole Miss down 10. KJ Buffin driving, finding Jarkel Joyner on the wing for 3. Too much Georgia, though, in transition. Severe Wheeler passes it to Johnson, who hits the 3. He was 4 of 5 from long distance as Georgia hangs on to win 78-74. Back here with you, Pat Bradley, Damian Fishback, Alyssa Lang. PB, I'm going to send it out to you first. What impressed you about this win for Georgia?
Well, how about this? Georgia shoots 75% in the second half, 75%. That shows me Tom Crean's style is getting to these guys. They are trusting their coach. Ball movement, player movement. We know he likes spacing. He likes to run. That's how you shoot 75%, by getting good shots, which they did, and finding the right guys. They were able to do that. 18 assists today. If Georgia can be committed to that style, getting good shots, open threes, layups in transition, they're going to be tough to deal with because they are an athletic team. They've got an explosive point guard. Severe Wheeler played really well. So I just think that style is going to be difficult for defenses to keep up with.
Good stuff, PB. What stood out to you about this matchup, Fish?
Yeah, really the job of Severe Wheeler. You know, when you talk about the job that he's done, you know, he was 1 assist away from having another double-double, which I think would have been his 5th double-double on points and assists. You hadn't seen that since the likes of Tyler Ulis back in 2000. So his ability to really dominate from the point guard position really sets this team in the right direction. And now for Coach Tom Crean and the Georgia Bulldogs, the question is, can you now begin to put together a string of more wins to continue going?
Which is tough to do in the SEC, right? I mean, what kind of confidence does it give you to be able to finally get that first conference win?
Well, everybody wants to get that monkey off their back. And now that you've seen that for Georgia, the question is, will you continue to string that together? You also had Ty Fagan, who really stepped up and responded well. Didn't play extremely well in the Wednesday game, but responded well. And so right now, Coach Tom Crean, who's only still building his culture, still trying to cultivate all those transfers along with guys that have come back, is now starting to be able to go back and say, look, if you do this, you can put together and get wins like we got in the non-conference schedule. So I'm anxious to see if they'll follow through, Alyssa.
Definitely helps to have a guy like Severe Wheeler and Ty Fagan putting up 18 and 19 points respectively. Nice win for the Georgia Bulldogs. All right, coming up today at 4 o'clock, we've got Florida taking on Mississippi State. Another interesting game, a Gators team that completed a comeback to beat Ole Miss a few days ago. Mississippi State, though, on the other hand, Fish couldn't keep the lead against A&M. Two teams who are definitely looking to build that momentum.
Yeah, well, you look at the way Florida has been playing, right? For Florida, obviously not having Keontae Johnson has been a challenge. But for them, Coach Mike White is still filling in different guys, whether that's Anthony DeRuggi continuing to step up. But I think they have something that not a lot of SEC teams have, which is Colin Castleton. Colin Castleton, I think, is so strong on the interior. He's got an inside presence. He's got good length. He affects the game on both sides of the floor. If they can establish his presence on the interior against the likes of an Abdul Adu, the active leader in shot blocks for the SEC, then I think Florida gives themselves their best chance to win.
I know Gator fans are loving them some Colin Castleton right now. And Trey Mann, we know what he can do, averaging about 14 points per game. What makes Trey Mann so dangerous, Fish?
Well, number one is he is a scoring point guard. And so there's a lot of guards who maybe only distribute the basketball or would rather distribute the basketball. But when that shot clock's going down, Coach Mike White can have confidence in the fact that Trey Mann can get up a good look at the basket. But he is still learning. I had to do that as a player. When you converge from an off guard to the point guard, it's a different mindset more than just a skill set. That's what he's trying to continue to adjust to. If he can do that, keep the turnovers down, distribute the basketball to the guys that need that, then Florida will have a better shot.
Saw a lot of passion from Florida, certainly in the second half of their last game. You know, Mike White is trying to get his guys riled up night in and night out. They're going to have a tough time defending this Mississippi State team between Abdul Adu and Toulouse Smith. PB, what do you see from Mississippi State that stands out for Florida?
Well, certainly Colin Castleton is going to have his hands full with Toulouse Smith and Abdul Adu. I want to see if Ben Holland is going to use those guys to make Colin Castleton play defense every single possession down there and really get physical with them, because those two guys, Smith and Adu, are very physical guys. It begins with this one right here, though. Iverson Molinar, the point guard, He and his backcourt mate, DJ Stewart, those two have played, in terms of backcourt play, as good as anyone in the SEC, maybe anyone in the country. Both guys are averaging 18. Right there, Iverson Molinar, just almost 19, shooting 50% from the floor. They're so difficult because they effectively know how to use the high ball screen. And they're not going to settle for threes. They're not going to settle for bad twos, contested twos. They both have a very good mid-range game. DJ Stewart goes 6'6". He's shooting it better than he ever has in his career from the three-point line. So it's going to be tough for Florida to match up without Scotty Lewis, trying to match up on the perimeter with a long DJ Stewart and explosive Iverson Molinar, who Ben Holland has compared Molinar to none other than Russell Westbrook.
A lot to focus on both sides of the ball, certainly in this matchup. About 41 minutes away from tipping off on ESPN2 between the Florida Gators and the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Looking forward to that one. Also looking forward to another 6 o'clock matchup we've got going down. This one in the state of Tennessee between Vanderbilt and the number 10 Volunteers. Last time out, Tennessee rolled past Texas A&M, and they've got Santiago Vescovi fish. That certainly helps.
Yeah, well, you look at the fact that Tennessee's only loss was at home against Alabama, who's playing as good as anyone in the country, and Jaden Springer wasn't able to play in the second half of that basketball game. As much as they continue to pick it up offensively, Pat, they'll continue to do a good job on the defensive end, and we know that.
Well, Vanderbilt, their engine is Scottie Pippen Jr. And if the length of Tennessee, and we know Tennessee they're very talented offensively, but it all begins with the defensive end with Tennessee. They're great length on the perimeter as well. They have. So if Scottie Pippen Jr. cannot get in the lane like he did so effectively against Kentucky and just about any other team this year, he creates for his teammates. And if they can slow him down, Alyssa, that is going to be the key for Tennessee. Slow down Scottie Pippen Jr. You mentioned Santiago Vescovi, 6 of 10 from the three-point line. He gave them the offense they desperately needed last game, Alyssa.
We will see if Scottie Pippen Jr. and company can do something to slow down Santiago in Tennessee. Looking forward to that one tipping off at 6 o'clock right here on the SEC Network. Time now for What to Watch For, brought to you by Liberty Mutual as we preview South Carolina taking on LSU. Fish, tough run for the Gamecocks so far this season. This will be just their second conference game so far.
Yeah, what Coach Frank Martin talked about was being a little frustrated, and Coach Frank Martin is not the type to make excuses, but the fact that he can't be on the road to go with his team has to be a challenge for him. But listen, this is 2020 and in 2021, no excuses. I expect the team to be prepared to play, and they had better be. LSU is playing as good as anyone. Now, they do that in spurts of about 20 minutes. People talked about the job that Michigan did in blowing out Wisconsin earlier. They're talking about Gonzaga. They could have been talking about LSU, but LSU only dominated Arkansas for a half, and then they let off the break in the second half. I like this matchup to see which team is going to step up to play for 40 minutes, Alyssa.
PB, what is it about LSU and the way they've been playing lately that impresses you, or maybe has South Carolina on alert for tonight?
Well, in that first half against Arkansas, LSU moved the ball about as good as you can ask a team. Nobody was held on to it for more than a second. It was either catch, shoot. Now, there was a lot of open shots there, but it was catch, shoot, or catch and move the ball. Player movement, ball movement. That's going to be the key for LSU because they do have so many weapons out there. And Darius Days, I love this kid because Coach Will Wade doesn't have to drop a play for him to have an impact on the game. He hits the offensive glass, stick back, and he will make open shots. Now, you did mention high-scoring games. Don't be surprised if this one is the highest-scoring game we have tonight.
South Carolina last played on January the 6th. It would be big if they could get a win over LSU. Certainly, that one will tip off at 8:30 tonight on the SEC Network. This one, though, about to tip off in just a few minutes. How about Jalen Tate and his Arkansas Razorbacks warming up to take on Alabama, still undefeated in conference play, sitting at 5-0 right now. We're expecting a lot of fireworks in this one.
To the people who reach into a carton of warm, crispy, golden, perfectly salted McDonald's world-famous fries and return with just one. Who are you, and how do you do that? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I'm a TurboTax Live expert, ready to assess even the most unique tax situations.
Can I deduct this clarinet as a medical expense?
Since you're planning to fix an overbite, yeah. Those custom size 26 shoes are a valid expense for a circus clown.
That's funny.
If we catch crab in Virginia and Maryland, do we file in each state?
With large catches in both, yes. I'll even file for you.
Thank you.
File with the help of an expert, or let an expert file for you. Intuit TurboTax Live.
Nicorette knows quitting smoking is freaking hard. You get advice like, just stop. Get a hobby. You should meditate. Oh, eat crunchy foods. Go for a run. Go for 10 runs. Run a marathon. Are you kidding me? Instead, start small with Nicorette, which can lead to something big. Start stopping with Nicorette.
Every day we have the choice to keep our old habits or start new ones. Choose great taste without the waste. Brita, drink like you care.
Down every road is a story. The farther you go, the more wild and unexpected they get. But those are the ones you remember, and tell and retell. So you need the right machine to find them. A capable machine that's tough and enduring. That's why, when we built the all-new Sorrento, we didn't just build another SUV. We built the world's first storytelling machine.
Meet football legend Tom Flores, a.k.a. the Iceman, a.k.a. the first Latino quarterback and head coach ever, a.k.a. why isn't he in the hall yet? Well, Coors Light is going to do something about it.
I'll drink to that.
For all the sniffles, sneezes, and Super Dad snack times, choose Kleenex Ultra Soft Tissues. Made for extra comfort, 3 layers strong. Kleenex. For all the moments.
Time now for a quick update in the Kentucky-Auburn game. About 15 minutes left to go in the second half here, but it'll be Sharif Cooper with the assist to Jalen Williams. Then Alan Flanagan with his own rebound puts it in, ties the game. Kentucky up 2 here. Now it's Olivier Sarr with the jump hook. Kentucky right now with the lead, 31-29 over Auburn in the second half. We will keep you posted on that one. And before we talk more Bama hoops, let's get a quick preview of SEC Inside from the National Championship.
2020 was a difficult journey. The finish line of the longest season is now in sight.
We're witnessing, to me, a dynasty with Nick Saban.
Mack looks long. Mack finds Devontae behind the defense.
And the Crimson Tide right now are making it look easy.
Here's the throw on the out route. It's caught and taken in for a touchdown.
And it's just too easy for Devontae Smith. Jones steps up right down the middle of the field. It's touchdown. Devontae Smith cannot be stopped. Play concept, playmaker.
The man that built the Tide goes into the history books.
In a season of chaos, the Crimson Tide are the constant excellence, and Saban steps past Paul Bryant with his 7th national championship.
To me, this is the ultimate team, and I'm so proud of this group for what they've been able to accomplish in going undefeated and winning the national championship.
That will air Monday at 9 o'clock right here on the SEC Network. And, man, it's a great year maybe to be an Alabama fan. First, the football team wins the national championship. Now the basketball team's undefeated in conference play. Before we get out to this one, some final thoughts from you guys. What do you want to see in this one tonight between Arkansas and the Tide?
Well, I think the biggest thing that I want to see from Alabama is what type of team they're going to be. Without Bruner in this basketball game. I think that he was a key cog for this team, and they have a tremendous amount of guards. When you think about Shackelford, when you think about Herbert Jones, Quinterly was already out. Petty was able to play the point at Kentucky, but they're a little less limited in regards to their front line. And so Alex Reese has to be big. Will Arkansas try to go inside, get him in foul trouble, Pat Bradley? Those are some of the strategic moves that I want to see from Coach Musselman and Coach Nate Oates today.
Yeah, I think the Jordan Bruner situation may be bigger than we've been talking about, because Arkansas has their own set of injuries with Justin Smith, who could have taken advantage in the paint because he's just a wide-bodied kid. I'll be watching Connor Vanover at 7'3", who likes to shoot the three, against Alex Reese, Alabama's big man, who also likes to shoot the three. So it'll be fun to watch those two guys go at it from the three-point line.
We talk about a lot of scoring in this one, but we know we're going to have to play some defense at some point, Fish. What do you want to see on the defensive side?
Well, Alabama's been playing tremendously on the defensive side, which is why they were able to be so successful at Kentucky. Their defense ignites their offensive transition. I'm anxious to see if they're able to do that tonight against a very lethal Arkansas team that's offensively playing as good as anyone in the league.
I believe Fish predicted a final score total of 172. PB said 181, and I said 176. We will see who is right at the end of this one, anticipating a lot of points being scored as we get you out to Arkansas, Alabama.
This should be an offensive melee. The best matchup for the SEC today. It's inside Coleman Coliseum. Arkansas visiting the red-hot Crimson Tide in Tuscaloosa. With Dane Bradshaw, the former Tennessee Vols captain, up Kevin Fitzgerald. What a week for the Tide. This program marched into the sacred grounds of Rupp Arena, won there for the first time in 15 years. A game that was dominated by the Tide. They hit 14 threes, but there was some dubious news that came throughout. Herb Jones, the heart and soul of the program, went down with a injury to his left ring finger. A key starter, Jordan Bruner, suffered a meniscus injury that required some surgery this week. But nevertheless, Alabama walked out of Rupp with a 20-point win. And there the program sits atop the SEC standings. Dane, how refreshing is this news that Herbert Jones is not just going to play today, he's going to start?
Huge news for the Tide. Rarely do you see an injury come out not as bad as expected, but that's exactly what happened. So big-time news heading into this game. He is their captain, their leader, their best player. It was impressive to see how well they played when he left the court the other night in Rupp Arena. But make no mistake about it, they are not an SEC championship team unless Herb Jones is in the lineup.
Best matchup in the league today right here inside Coleman Coliseum, and we're glad you're here with us. Arkansas in the red, Alabama wearing the white. This is Moses Moody, the dynamic leading scorer for the Hogs, and he's got 2 free throws right off the bat. They've got the farm-rich starting lineups. Moses Moody leads the way with just about 17 points per game. Dane, number 0, is back. Justin Smith, 15 days after surgery on his right ankle, and he's playing.
A surprise early return from the injury report for the Hogs as well. And Justin Smith has been that glue guy, the versatile defender, the great athlete. The guy can really do it all for Arkansas, and he has been missed. So to see him have a quick recovery is certainly good news for Razorbacks.
He hasn't played since the SEC opener against Auburn, and the Arkansas's leading rebounder. It is a high-scoring starting 5 for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Alex Reese makes his first start of the year in place of the injured Jordan Bruner. Is going to be out for about 3 to 6 weeks. You saw the meniscus injury in those opening highlights. If you claim to be tough in this league, I think you got to ask Herbert Jones first, if you're allowed to use that moniker. Might be the toughest guy in this league, playing after suffering the injury on Tuesday. It's a 2-0 Arkansas lead, 1 minute in.
Yeah, Herb Jones is accustomed to playing through injury. Last year he played with a club on his hand basically, and this time just a little bandage. But John Petty, Kevin, you asked Coach Oates before the game, you said, hey, is he a guy that you know he's going to be on if he makes his first couple? He said, absolutely. There he is.
His first triple is down. He went for a season-high 23 against Kentucky on Tuesday. And Smith earns a couple of free throws after the whistle. There's Eric Musselman. This is now his second season as the head man at Arkansas. He and Nate Oates similar in a lot of ways. He had all that success at Nevada previously, Oates at Buffalo. You know, Dane, his team was kind of humiliated the other day against LSU. He was not pleased with the effort on Wednesday in a loss. And he's on the plane on the way back home to Fayetteville, and he said, I kind of took a moment, jotted down some advice I have received from my mentors over the years, like Doc Rivers, like Chuck Daly, like his father. You asked him, who did he go with after a tough loss?
He's a smart man. He went with Papa Bear. And, you know, and we'll get into it some more later, but I admire his stance of, you know, thinking big picture and instead of short term. Yes, you have to prepare for this game, but you also have to prepare for the rest of the season. You've got a bunch of newcomers looking at you as a head coach saying, what are you going to allow and put up with? And he made them practice extremely hard and punish them, if you will, for the performance in Baton Rouge.
Alex Reese with his first triple. 2 threes for Alabama. One from Petty, one from Reese. A prolific scoring team, especially from deep. Arkansas looking for its first field goal attempt. A few free throws is all the visitors have thus far. Here's Jalen Tate. Gives to Desi Sills, who's back into the starting 5. And Nate Oates, in his second year at Alabama, has led the Tide to their best SEC start in 34 years. Not since that SEC championship winning team back in 1987. That's how far back you have to go. With the Tide 5-0 to start league play. On the drive, Herbert Jones with that left hand.
And with the shooters they put on the court, that's what makes the spacing and that drive possible. You cannot allow Herb Jones straight line drive to the basket, especially to his strong left hand.
Tate lost it on the cut. This is Jaden Shackelford. Tipped out. Last touched by Arkansas. It stays with Alabama.
In a game against Alabama, you must take pride in your one-on-one defense and guard the ball. Because the help is occupied with all the shooters around, it allows for Alabama's two-man game right at the top of the key to be so effective because of all the shooters they have on the court at one time.
Dan, I don't think we can understate enough the value of Herb Jones's presence on the floor for Alabama.
Rarely is your glue guy also your best player, but that's Herb Jones. He does everything for this team. But again, I was really impressed with them at Rupp Arena the other night when he went down, as opposed to last season. They were so fragile from a toughness standpoint last year. When Herb Jones was not in the lineup, they could not win tough games. That's not the case this year. They've bought in, they've grown up, they've added some new pieces, and they've taken on more of Herb Jones' personality.
By the way, you heard Alyssa and the gang joking, rightfully so, about the pace of this one and the amount of points we may see. These two teams play very, very fast. They count that basket, by the way. Basket interference, so Arkansas with its first field goal. Dane, Arkansas scores more than 87 points per game. That's the highest total in the league. Not so fast because Alabama's the highest scoring team in league play. Expect a lot of points today, no?
Well, and they say be quick, don't be in a hurry, and that's what Moses Moody does. You see it on that last basket. Yes, he's fast-paced, but he stops, pump fakes, get the defender in there. Good job getting the goal, Tim, but you're right. And this will be a tough game. The 7'3" Connor Vanover, see if he gets in the rotation because Alabama is the 5th fastest in terms of pace in the country, which makes it a challenge for big men.
The Arkansas center hasn't played very much of late. Herbert Jones already with 4 points. Playing, of course, with that tender left hand, of course, injuring the ring finger on Tuesday inside Rupp Arena. Arkansas careless early on with a few turnovers and the Tide pushing. Shackelford, crafty score, misfires right at the rim. Back-to-back turnovers. That's the 3rd for the Hogs.
And that's just something you can't do against Alabama. Such a fast team, you must protect the ball better. Something Arkansas had trouble with last game against LSU.
Almost a little too casual of a pace from the Hogs. And it's Alabama with a 5-point early lead, Dane.
Here's your potential SEC Player of the Year with a banged-up left hand. Says, you know what, let me take it easy on my left hand and show you. I got a little right. Herb Jones making his presence felt early.
Businesses are always making choices. Here's a choice you don't have to make. The largest 5G network, award-winning customer satisfaction, or insanely great value. Now with T-Mobile for Business, there's no compromise. Network, support, value. Choose all three. T-Mobile for Business. Ready when you are.
First up is this exquisite bowl of French onion dip. I'm going to start the bidding at $5. Thank you, sir. Looking for $6. $6 over there. Do I hear $7? $7 in the front. $7 going once, going twice. Sold to the onion lover in the front row. Next up is lot number 17, a spinach and artichoke dip beautifully set in a hollowed out loaf of sourdough bread.
Don't get mad, get E-Trade and get more than just trading. Investing, banking, guidance.
SEC Network Basketball is brought to you by Zaxby's. Hand-breaded chicken and fresh ingredients made to order only at Zaxby's. Melee today. We're glad you're here with us with Dane Bradshaw, the former Tennessee Vols captain. Kevin Fitzgerald with you. A good week for Alabama. It wins inside Rupp Arena. On the other hand, Arkansas trying to bounce back from a really humiliating loss to LSU on Wednesday. Eric Musselman not very pleased with the defensive effort to this point in the season.
And as a coach, you have to juggle a lot. It's okay, we have to prepare for our next game. Do I really make my team practice extremely hard, teach them a lesson, or do you burn the tape? But I think it's tricky because when you have a new team, you can't just take the easy way out and burn the tape and say, okay, this is an anomaly. No, you have to put your foot down and say, we're going to learn from this. No excuses, and I'm going to make you guys look in the mirror, and we're going to take a look here, Kevin, just at what Coach Musselman said after a lot of thought.
We'll read this one along with you. So Thursday's practice was as long as we've had since I've been here. The weighted vests in many of our defensive drills are transition drills with an understanding that we play an early game on Saturday. Musselman continues it, but I put forth the thought that we were going to have a really difficult practice after the way we performed against LSU, and if it affects us on Saturday, it affects us Saturday. And you can see as he continues on. I mean, Dane, it's not mincing words there. Weighted vests and making sure there was a message sent in practice after the rough loss on Wednesday.
Again, I think well received. If you have a veteran ball club that you know that was just an anomaly and it was an off night and you just weren't shooting well, that's one thing. That's the burn the tape scenario. But if you got beat on effort plays and you're trying to send a message to your new team about the identity that you want to have as a program, then I agree with Coach Muss. And I thought he did a good job of sort of protecting his players in that quote, saying, look, I know we might be sluggish and a little bit tired at Alabama, but there's a bigger battle here, and that's the big picture of his program.
Make no mistakes, Arkansas will be very competitive this year. Selected to finish 6th in the league at the start of the season. Their conference wins on the road at Auburn and against Georgia. And remember, while the result on Wednesday was not ideal, losing at LSU, this team played very well the prior week, nearly knocking off a ranked Tennessee team. So there is plenty of potential for the Fresh Hogs, playing with 11 newcomers this year. But yeah, when you get outscored 40-6 at one point in the first half, nothing really went well in that opening period in Baton Rouge.
And LSU as a team, they want to punk you. They want to bully you. They want to flex after tough putbacks in the paint. And that's exactly what they did to Arkansas. And so, again, I applaud Coach Musselman for not taking the easy way out and saying, look, we're not going to allow that under his watch.
Arkansas just 1 of 7 from the field to start. Alabama now 4 of 10 after the missed 3. And a whistle after the missed shot. That's a foul on Desi Sills, the junior, back in the starting lineup today. He came off the bench the prior 2 games. The senior from Greensboro, Alabama. Often his impact on games is often overlooked because he doesn't hit threes at the rate that some of his teammates do. But you mentioned it, Dane. You called him the glue guy and just the captain of this team.
The thing
he
I've loved about
rebounds,
him
he
is
defends, and he makes the winning basketball plays.
And he's been a winner since he was a freshman. Like, he didn't learn how to do that. He came in prepared to do all the dirty work, and it's the rest of his game that's become more polished to where now #1 in white is in the mix for SEC Player of the Year. And he's got the respect from every coach across the league. They look beyond his stats, but now all of a sudden he's got a little jumper to him. He's making his free throws. You can't just sag off him, which is helping Alabama's spacing. So again, a lot of good things happen when he's on the court. With that said, Alabama's about to get better too, because 13 in white, Javon Quinterly has checked in the game after an absence with his medical condition. So the Tide just keep getting better.
He's missed the last 3. A starter and someone who scores more than 10 points a game. A little bit of a sloppy pace to start. 5 turnovers for the Hogs, 4 for Alabama. And both of these teams playing with a little extra adrenaline at the start of this one. Smith missed it at the rim. Tate poked it from Rojas. Jump ball.
Well, Rojas, is going to play the center position right now in this lineup, but you're a little small ball. That doesn't mean you're the point guard either. They got to find the guy, and this is going up against Arkansas's best perimeter defender, and Tate, no surprise, he gets a hand on the ball.
And Rojas to the bench. Here's Devontae Davis, who checks in for Arkansas. He's provided a nice spark at times for the Hogs. One of the 4-star freshmen in the 2020 class.
Had an opportunity with Justin Smith out, got some more minutes, stepped up at times. Like the rest of this new team, they're learning as they go.
Shackelford got the 3. So now 3 different Crimson Tide with a triple. Petty, Reese, and Shackelford already. Turnover. Juwan Gary with the left hand. Timeout, Arkansas.
This is what makes Alabama so dangerous. I mean, offensively in the half court, how do you keep them out of the paint? They are drive, draw, dish, look for the open 3, and Jaden Shackelford just has that scorer's mentality. But then they force the turnovers on the other end, as Gary, with a lot of athleticism, finishes with the left at the rim. But that started with the intensity they showed on the defensive side of the ball. Kevin, this is a team, we had them several times last year. It's not a surprise to me how efficient they are offensively. Yes, they have added some pieces and some personnel that has made them maybe fit Nate Oates' style a little bit better. But the change has been on the defensive side of the ball in the hustle plays. And that's what has them as what should be a top 25 ranked team. And Coach Oates didn't shy away from the pressure. He said, look, we got the pieces we want. We'd be disappointed if we didn't have a good seed in the NCAA tournament and an ability to make a run.
That expectation, you're right, it kind of courses through the program. Started 4-3, losses to Clemson, Stanford, and Western Kentucky. It was after a home loss to Western Kentucky when the players got together and said, what do we want to be this year? The accountability was coursing through the locker room. Since then, 6-0 over the last 6.
Kevin,
no mistake, this is the hottest team in the SEC.
Yeah, excuse me, Kevin. These long shots can be tough for the defense. Long shots mean long rebounds, and it creates extra opportunities for Alabama.
14-2, Alabama run. Davis misfires. By Arkansas, 1 of 9 from the field. Here's Quinterly, bounces, and over the rim. Dane, what we've seen, this is exactly what Nate Oates wants to see. His style of play, it's NBA-like. He expounds on that next.
It happens. But now Straight Talk Wireless has coverage for your phone with the new Platinum Unlimited plan, which includes Mobile Protect. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus more. All on the best networks. Straight Talk Wireless only at Walmart.
With the top-rated app that lets you deposit checks and transfer money anytime, anywhere, banking with Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like...
I'll take Barkley.
Yes, I still got it. I told her she'd pick me first.
Yep, even easier than that. Plus, with no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, is it really even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Today I'ma wake up a new man, driving a new road, develop a new plan. I'll never be blue, man, whatever the view, man. Go to a new beach, give me a new 10. I'ma write down every...
What's this graph I'm hearing about that you share with recruits? What is this?
You want me to pull it up on the Zoom and show you?
All right, go ahead. I think you can share the graph with us.
All right, perfect. So I'm going to share my can you see it right there?
Bingo.
Pace of play in the NBA. So this is, let me make it full screen here. All right, so you can see this graph here on the left. So 5 years ago in the NBA to right now, like there's 95.8 possessions a game to 104.1. So the NBA is playing faster. This graph right here down, the blue one right here is college. 69.1 possessions a game 5 years ago, the exact same this year. Like it's not changed a bit. But these are the 5 years I've been a head coach in Division I basketball. You can see we're significantly faster than the typical college game. You'll like this one too, Kevin. So this is the top 7 conferences in college basketball, which, the Power 5 plus the Big East plus the American. So vertical scales, tempo, horizontal scales, three-point rate. If you look, we're kind of up in a whole different stratosphere from what a lot of these teams are doing. So we kind of show them how we compare to the NBA, and then how we compare to other college basketball teams.
Incredibly insightful stuff from the head man. So the recruiting pitch is not just, here's what playing for us is going to look like. Here's some math to show you what it's going to look like. So what's your favorite part of all that?
The fact that was recorded during the shutdown, and you can either sulk and quarantine in your home office, or you can be like Kevin Fitzgerald, start a podcast and get Nate Oates with some awesome content. Bravo, you overachiever. That was great stuff. But seriously, though, good for you and good for Nate Oates for sharing that. It is very insightful. But all coaches at the press conference, they get the job and they say, you know what, we're going to play fast. We're going to give everybody an exciting style of play. But how many walk the walk and truly have that identity as a team? Nate Oates does. And they've now got the personnel to have what he always said, even at Detroit Romulus High School. We want 5 guys on the court that can pass, dribble, and shoot. 5 of them. And that's where they are going to miss Bruner a little bit with his injury. But they do have a very competent backup in Alex Reese, who started several times this year for the Tide, to see if they can overcome that injury maybe a little bit easier than most teams could.
Bruner going to be out about 4 to 6 weeks. Boy, that is the 8th Arkansas turnover. If you're a recruit, how does that resonate with you as you're hearing something like that?
Yeah, everybody wants to see how am I going to be used, and there's not a player out there that doesn't like to play fast. Kevin, when I was a junior, our coach got let go, and my junior season, Bruce Pearl came to Tennessee. We bought in the first practice, and it wasn't because we knew him really well, but it's because we saw the pace of play, the style that we were going to, a lot of three-point shooting, play your game, have the freedom. And so it's fun to recruit to because people want to play in it. Not everybody's good at playing in it, though, so you got to be very selective with who you do recruit into this style of offense.
I think if there was ever a graph involved during the Chris Lofton recruitment, he probably would have just stopped either Bruce or your prior head coach and said, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take a few hundred threes throughout my career anyway. I don't need a graph.
I can tell you this. I'm glad. I'm fortunate that I was a leftover on the roster, because I wouldn't have fit the mold for that graph. It would have been like, we play a different style than your skill set, Bradshaw.
Everything going Alabama's way. Shackelford now with 5 points. Arkansas has to stop the bleeding at some point. This is Moses Moody.
Kevin, that starts with them.
Cut off by Jones.
They've got to get a shot. I mean, they've had 7 turnovers, only 9 field goal attempts compared to Alabama's 16.
Tate watches it roll out. Jalen Williams, who's been a good offensive rebounder, got his hand on it, but instead it's a 4-on-2. Petty spots up, splash! (19-2) run.
Well, this is off a missed shot, but Alabama is off to the races, and Jaden Shackelford has his head up, looks for his man Petty, who's always ready to fire that thing. Just a nice job in transition, and if you're Arkansas, yes, you have to protect the paint and the rim, but if somebody calls out the ball, you better be sprinting to that three-point line, knowing that Alabama, they're not going up for the lob dunk in transition. They're finding their spot on the 3, so you better be there as well if you're a defender.
Already 4 triples for the Tide. John Petty now more than 1,300 points. He's going to break the program's all-time three-point record. Likely today, if not today, at some point in the very near future. Chasing down Brian Williams' record.
And my man, Ernest Shelton, number 4 on that list, White Station High School, my teammate. He's Shelton, I got you, man. Your legacy lives on.
Moses Moody on the fall away. Boy, if there has been one bright spot throughout some of the struggles this week, it has been Moody. Dane, the freshman from Little Rock. Eric Musselman told us he's just businesslike in his pursuit of being the best player on this team. Ellis short. Sills twisting. Smith had his hands on it, and he secures the offensive rebound. Playing for the first time in 3 weeks. Arkansas just 2 of 12 from the field, looking for some sort of an offensive spark. And another turnover. That's the 9th for the Hogs. Petty, drive and kick. Shackelford spots up. Petty with the offensive board. He wants it. Got another.
And that's it, Kevin. I mean, I alluded to it. The long shots create long rebounds. So when you're in typical box out position and you think you're in a good spot in the paint, the rebound is actually going further away to the offense advantage. Petty gets a 3-ball out of it.
Already 4 offensive rebounds for the Tide. And right now, displaying all of the effort. Sills can't quiet the run. A one-and-done possession again for Arkansas. Ellis to Jones, he's fouled.
This is Alabama in the half court, the last possession. It's about driving in. Here's Petty. He's able to jump in the air on a pass. You shouldn't do that typically, but if you know where your teammate's going to be, he's got the hammer pass on the left side. Shackelford's going to miss, but again, long rebound opportunity. Petty's just like, all right, this is a layup for me. I'm ready to break this record in the first half.
The intensity fully on display for Alabama. And there he is. He has tied it. Only a matter of time before he breaks it.
He's earned it, Kevin. I mean, this is a guy that came in his freshman year. Everybody around the league says it feels like he's been there for 6-7 years just because he's played valuable minutes. He's started frequently for all 4 years, and he's been a shooter and a scorer. But the thing that has changed so much when we talk to Nate Oates is It's his handle, like his fundamentals. He's now a better ball handler, making better plays. His assist-to-turnover ratio is positive instead of negative like it was the first 3 years. A much more complete player and most likely a first-team All-SECer.
Moody sticks the three. He has 9 of Arkansas's 10 points.
Good news, bad news. Your freshman's leading you on the road, but that's also the bad news. You need some help around the young guy.
Alabama already with a 15-point lead. The record, it's not safe for long for John Petty.
Petty's just going to line him up, man. He's feeling it. Streaky shooter at times, but if he makes his first one, you can forget about it, and he is on fire.
My body is truly powerful.
I have the power to lower my A1C.
Because my body can still make its own insulin.
And Trulicity activates my body to release it, lowering my blood sugar from the first dose. Once weekly Trulicity responds when my body needs it 24/7. Trulicity is for type 2 diabetes. It's not insulin.
It isn't for people with type 1 diabetes. Don't take Trulicity if you're allergic to it. You or your family have medullary thyroid cancer or have multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. Stop Trulicity and call your doctor right away if you have an allergic reaction, a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, changes in vision, or diabetic retinopathy. Serious side effects may include pancreatitis. Taking Trulicity with sulfonylurea or insulin raises low blood sugar risk. Side effects include indigestion, fatigue, belly pain, decreased appetite, nausea, diarrhea, and vomiting, which can lead to dehydration and may worsen kidney problems.
I have it within me to lower my A1C.
Ask your doctor about Trulicity.
Hi.
Happy anniversary.
For what?
Every year you're with us, you get $50 toward your home deductible. It's a policy perk for being a Farmer's customer.
Really? Do I have to do anything?
Nothing.
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 Nothing?
Nothing.
That really is something.
You get a whole lot of something with Farmer's policy perks. See ya.
May I have a balloon too?
Sure. Your parents have maintained a Farmer's home policy for 12 consecutive months, right?
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Time now for a quick studio update as we check in with Auburn and Kentucky. How about Sharif Cooper finding Cardwell for the dunk, helping Auburn build their lead here. This time it's Cooper with the floater. The Auburn Tigers lead 58-50 with 4 minutes left to go. Kevin and Dane.
Auburn in position to win its second straight game now. Defeated Georgia during the week. Sharif Cooper not shooting well today, but you saw the distribution. 26 points a week ago against Alabama. So Auburn scores 90 and loses last week against the Tide. But it just felt like when he finally became eligible, the 5-star Sharif Cooper, that Auburn was going to start to make a run at some point.
I mean, he is worth the price of admission and has been phenomenal. I mean, this guy has changed their team. He's changed how fast they can play, how efficient they can play. And you're right, Alabama got the first dose of them, an undefeated Alabama team against a winless Auburn team at the time. And just goes to show what a difference one player can make, especially at the point guard position.
Offensive foul on Rojas. It's James Rojas' first. By the way, John Petty does not have the record, has not tied the program three-point record. One of his prior shots that was ruled a 3 has been changed to a 2. So he gets to tie the record again and then break it at some point, maybe today. J.D. Notte. Arkansas needs to spark offensively, and the putback is good. Moses Moody, Dane, has 11 of Arkansas's 12 points.
That's not a good thing, obviously. Justin Smith with the only other point, which came very early in this game at the free throw line. But that's what Moody does on a positive note, is he hangs around the basket so well. He's got great instincts. Not a huge player, but so effective as a rebounder, an offensive rebounder as well. And hangs around that paint. Not the exact same way Jimmy Witt did last year, but just, you know, he uses that 15 feet in area to his advantage that so few players are skilled at these days.
Look at that, the rest of the team just 1 point, and that's Justin Smith's free throw to open up the game. A foul a moment ago was on Ethan Henderson, so Alabama inbounding underneath the hoop. Here's Petty, a lot of room in the air, and it's good. He's done it again. One more three, and he will have the program's three-point record all to himself. Well, he settled into a rhythm quickly. Yeah, I don't think he's falling out of it anytime soon. 11 points for Petty. Meanwhile, Note, head fake and drive. Wide open lane. He did that double pump, and that didn't help him.
Started
an
with
open
an
look into a
aggressive,
contested one.
Yeah, out of control closeout by Petty, but he did his job of running him off the three-point line.
Another three for Alabama. Keon Ellis with the triple. And the Tide have hit 6 in the first 14 minutes.
This is just a scary team to play against, no matter who you are in the SEC, because you know they're going to shoot a lot of threes. They've got the guys to make them, and they shoot it with such confidence. And it doesn't matter. It's, you know, tonight it's been Petty's night, 3 threes already, but it's everybody along within the roster. Alex Reese stepping up with Bruner being out. Again, Shackelford, who's always looking at the rim, looking to score. His shot selection continues to improve, and here he is, driving, kicking to Petty, and Ellis also getting in the mix. It's just such a tough team to play because of the way they spread you out. And if you commit to defending the three against Alabama, they're so skilled at putting the ball on the floor and getting to the rim that they can also beat you from 2 with layups.
You can see the difference is evident. Those 83.6 points per game in SEC play, the best in the league. 39% from deep in a league play, a vast improvement from that non-conference play. And Moody is fouled on the triple.
Got to give him a place to land here as Moody, the only bright spot, trying to keep Alabama in it. Get yourself to the free throw line, Arkansas in it. But Arkansas has got to also understand that they're not going to get back in this game in a shootout. They're not going to do it on the offensive end. They've got to get consecutive stops defensively and give themselves a chance on offense with the 9 turnovers they've had so far.
Yeah, can't turn it over. Moody averages close to 17 a game. He's the 6th highest scoring freshman in the nation. And he is creeping close to that number in the first half. Now with 14. So going back to Alabama, has the floor been spaced a bit better of late for this offense?
Well, there's no question. I think Herb Jones has provided that with his scoring ability and outside shooting ability improving. The Yale transfer Bruner when he was at center, and they've got other shooters backing him up like Alex Reese. And so not many teams can get better after they lose a lottery pick. Alabama lost Kyra Lewis as the number 13 pick in the NBA draft, and you don't see any type of backtrack on this team. In fact, they've gotten better.
Moody tried to just yoke one and got blocked at the rim. Basketball is going to stay with Arkansas. He is essentially single-handedly keeping the Hogs in this game with 14 of the team's 15. That was Jawan Gary, by the way, who blocked the prior attempt. Cade cut off by Petty. Sills lost it again. Penn, Arkansas turnovers. Javon Quinterly playing after missing the last 3, fouled on the drive. It's a full day of hoops on the SEC Network. Up next, we will get the Vanderbilt-Tennessee matchup. That is at 6. These two were supposed to play on Tuesday before that game was postponed. It's right here on the SEC Network. Paul Sutherland, Joe Klein have that one for you. Tennessee and Alabama, they're at the top of the league. They seem to be the most impressive in the SEC. And pretty much hands down.
Most consistent, but Vanderbilt, they're going to shoot a lot of threes too. They don't have as many makers as Alabama does at this point, but look out for their point guard, Scottie Pippen Jr. The sophomore has really made a huge step in his second year under Coach Stackhouse.
Tate, and there's the first field goal for an Arkansas Razorback not named Moses Moody. Oh, the shot wiped away by Henderson. And the rebound to Moody. Note, attacking. Lost it. And Petty saves it before it rolls out. Winterly to Gary. Corner. Primo. No. That's how quick Alabama can go from rebound to transition 3. Jayla Tate lines it up. Gary secures the board.
And even when they get consecutive stops, Arkansas just unable to put together a string of makes on the other end.
And he misfires. 3 of 6 from deep. He leads all Alabama scorers with the 11. Arkansas down 16. It feels like it could be worse considering the turnovers that have been woeful in this first half. Note for 3, short. And he bounced it to Gary underneath. That rattles in. 6 points for Juwan Gary. His minutes have increased and will continue to do so with Bruder out. This is Tate with the leader. Tate fighting for it with Petty. Quinterly now. Foul before the shot with 2:53 to go. Alabama more than doubling up Arkansas. The red-hot Tide with an 18-point lead.
Deep sea driving, I see.
Something like that.
Well, here's something else. With your Farmer's Policy Perk new car replacement, you can get a new one.
That is something else.
Get a whole lot of something with Farmer's Policy Perks.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
T-Mobile is upgrading its network at a record pace. We were the first to bring 5G nationwide. And now that Sprint is a part of T-Mobile, we're turning up the speed. Upgrading over 1,000 towers a month with ultra-capacity 5G to bring speeds as fast as Wi-Fi to cities and towns across America. And we're adding more every week. Coverage and speed. Who says you can't have it all?
Wendy's didn't start the chicken wars. They just ended them with Wendy's new classic chicken sandwich. Nothing beats this classic. Grab it now in Wendy's 2 for $5.
Hey everyone, coming up on the SEC Halftime Report, we'll preview the Gators matchup with Mississippi State, give you an inside look at the CFP National Championship, and of course, talk first half. PB, what you got?
Well, we knew that Alabama had the opportunity to put up big numbers in this first half, Fish.
Yeah, they need to both go to the basket. No rim protection in this game. Who's shooting all the threes?
We'll talk about it more in a few, guys.
Guys, we'll talk to you in just a bit. Yeah, there is a lot of ways you can break down the way the first 17 minutes have played out. Alabama has hit 6 triples, 45% from the field, and Dane has turned Arkansas over 11 times. There's J.D. Note. Yeah, who else needs to step up outside of Moses Moody in this game?
I think you're looking at him. J.D. Note is easily their second best, if not the best, scorer on the Arkansas team. He's a terrific one-on-one player, can get his own, However, he does have the bandages on his shoulder for a reason. He got banged up in the loss at Baton Rouge, where he was very effective as a scorer, although they obviously did not have their best game as a team. So with him not being 100%, you got to wonder if there's just enough firepower to climb out of this hole against such a hot shooting Alabama team. I'm not saying this is the exact scenario, but when I was a sophomore, we were at the Maui Invitational, and we were getting smacked by a North Carolina team that featured Rashad McCants and all those guys that went on. Sean May went on to win a national championship. And I remember that game, our upperclassmen and others really didn't step up, myself included. But we had a freshman, Chris Lofton, and he just went nuts. All of a sudden, he kind of said, you know what? I know I've been doing my role, and I've kind of been deferring because I don't want to just overstep as a freshman. But I'm going to go get buckets if you guys aren't. And he lit it up in a loss. This reminds me a little bit of that as you watch Moses Moody. So on the bright side, it's like, does this start to become more and more of Moses Moody's team as the rest of the roster realizes, hey, the only guy that could give us anything against the best team in the league right now was 5 in red.
Moody has 14. When I think Memphis, Tennessee, I think some of the world-class surfers in the world. Did you get to surf while you were out there in Maui?
It's real hard to have fun when you get blasted. We got killed by North Carolina, and then get by Texas, and everybody's sitting around. You're out the pool, the beach. You're like hoping coach isn't looking while you do a cannonball. You're scared to smile, have fun. So not the most fun trip.
Yeah, the key is just winning the first game, I guess. Got to get a win on day one. Oh, buckets again. This time it's Shackelford. 7 triples for Alabama. Eric Musselman outlined this to us, and he's been very vocal about this. Remember, last year, Arkansas was the nation's best three-point shooting team. Let me restart that one. They were the best at defending the three-point shot a year ago.
That's
and
a great
this season,
call.
Yeah, it's been a little different. Off the turnover, Shackelford lays it in.
Yeah, we had Arkansas several times last year. I can't think of a game where they allowed a team to shoot close to 40% from 3. And as Coach Muss said, he said, look, we're drilling the same. I'm coaching the same. For whatever reason, we're just not closing out with that stick hand up. However, this is a different level of confidence that this Alabama team has from last year when Arkansas was playing them to today.
Moody up that time. You're right. The confidence is sky high for Alabama. Alex Reese, they hit the backboard, saved them from an air ball. But it's a 25-point lead for the Tide, looking to stretch their win streak to 7 straight games today. Jalen Tate leans in, swish. There's Jalen Tate, the 5th-year senior, coming over from Northern Kentucky, a great addition in that transfer market. But today has struggled with some turnover problems. Ethan Henderson with another block. 48.1 to go until half. Women's hoops doubleheader on Thursday. The 5th-ranked Gamecocks host Georgia beginning at 6:30. And then Kentucky heads to the Plains to take on Auburn at 8:30. It's on the SEC Network, also on the ESPN app. Remember the halftime deficit for Arkansas on Wednesday? They trailed LSU by 20. And today, different chapter, but same story. 3 to shoot. Shackelford attacks, floats, no. Rebounded Jalen Williams. Auburn taking down Kentucky today. Alabama with the huge lead. Florida and Mississippi State playing right now. Remember, the studio crew will have all that breakdown for you coming up. That ball is batted out by Herbert Jones. 6.1 to go.
And Kevin, if any Tide fans are joining us late, as good as the news was with the win at Rupp and how well Alabama's playing, the best news is that Herbert Jones' injury wasn't as bad as they expected, and he was in the starting lineup from the start of this game. Hasn't been the star necessarily, but as we know, just having him on the court gives this team so much confidence.
3 rebounds, a block. Nate Oates said he might be gone for a while. He plays the next game. Ball tipped. Shackelford has it. Out of bounds. That's half. Alabama leads by 23. John Petty, Jaden Shackelford combined for 21. Red hot Tide looking good. Now to the studio.
Thank you, guys, as we welcome you into the SEC Halftime Report. Alyssa Lang, Damian Fishback, and Pat Bradley here with you. Well, this has been quite the first half, Fish. Alabama leads 42-19 over Arkansas. I think we saw one half of that score coming, but maybe not so much from Arkansas. What stood out to you?
Yeah, the fact that Alabama's playing solid on both ends of the floor. Defensively, Alabama has made outstanding improvements this year, and that's from the culture that's been displayed by Coach Nate Oates. What I was impressed with was the fact that Herbert Jones came out and set the pace, though. Just having your leader in that basketball game, Pat, makes all the difference in the world.
Well, people ask what has Alabama improved on, and it's from their defense. Listen, they're going to be able to shoot the ball. They're going to be able to score, right? They're committed to that. But from a defensive standpoint, Fish, check this out. Arkansas was 2 of 8 in layups, okay? That is being active with your hands, protecting the rim, and Alabama has 8 steals on the day. So from a defensive standpoint, they're more active, and we see right here their three-point shooting all is predicated on being able to put it on the floor, get in the paint, drive and kick for 3, or lay it in if there's no help.
Alabama right now with a 23-point lead over the Arkansas Razorbacks. And whether we're talking basketball or football, guys, it's a pretty good year so far to be an Alabama sports fan overall. You're right, PB. The football team recently won a national championship. Let's take an inside look now at the CFP national title game.
2020 was a difficult journey. The finish line of the longest season is now in sight.
We're witnessing to be a dynasty with Nick Saban.
Mack looks long. Mack finds Devontae behind the defense.
And the Crimson Tide right now are making it look easy.
Here's the throw on the out route. It's caught and taken it for a touchdown.
And it's just too easy for Devontae Smith. Jones steps up right down the middle of the field. It's touchdown. Devontae Smith cannot be stopped. Play concept, playmaker.
The man that built the Tide goes into the history books.
In a season of chaos, the Crimson Tide are the constant excellence, and Saban steps past Paul Bryant with his 7th national championship.
To me, this is the ultimate team, and I'm so proud of this group for what they've been able to accomplish and going undefeated and winning the national championship.
Looking forward to that edition of SEC Inside Monday night, 9 o'clock. How about John Petty Jr., 3 of his first half, 11. Bama with a big lead.
Hi.
Happy anniversary.
For what?
Every year you're with us, you get $50 toward your home deductible. It's a policy perk for being a Farmer's customer.
Really? Do I have to do anything?
Nothing.
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 Nothing?
Nothing.
That really is something.
You get a whole lot of something with Farmer's policy perks. See ya.
May I have a balloon too?
Sure. Your parents have maintained a Farmer's home policy for 12 consecutive months, right?
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
It happens. But now Straight Talk Wireless has coverage for your phone with the new Platinum Unlimited plan, which includes Mobile Protect. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus more. All on the best networks. Straight Talk Wireless only at Walmart.
Is what you eat eating your enamel? Acidic foods can cause enamel loss, which can lead to sensitivity and yellowing. Pronamel protects teeth against enamel loss for strong, healthy teeth. Pronamel.
Wendy's didn't start the chicken wars. They just ended them with Wendy's new classic chicken sandwich. Nothing beats this classic. Grab it now in Wendy's 2 for $5.
Down every road is a story. The farther you go, the more wild and unexpected they get. But those are the ones you remember, and tell and retell. So you need the right machine to find them. a capable machine that's tough and enduring. That's why, when we built the all-new Sorrento, we didn't just build another SUV. We built the world's first storytelling machine.
Each Febreze car vent clip gives you up to 30 days of fresh air. So you can have open window freshness, even with all the windows up. Enjoy fresh anytime with Febreze.
Breathe happy with Febreze.
You ready for tonight?
I've been training 3 years for this fight.
You know I'm the greatest.
Minister Malcolm X.
Jim Brown takes the ball.
Sam Cooke.
I was made in America.
I ain't no damn hero.
It's gonna be a target on your back. Welcome to America.
You brothers, you could move mountains without lifting a finger.
Welcome to America.
One Night in Miami. Rated R. Watch now. Only on Prime Video.
Welcome back to the SEC Halftime Report. Georgia was looking for their first win in SEC play, taking on Ole Miss earlier today. We'll start it out in the second half. Georgia up 12. Tamani Kamara finding Ty Fagan. He had 19 on the day. Bulldogs up 14. Later, Ole Miss down 10. KJ Buffin hitting Jarkel Joyner in the wing for the three. Joyner had 22 points on the day, cuts the lead to 7, but it was too much Georgia. Severe Wheeler to Katie Johnson drains the three. Georgia gets the win, 78-74. Missouri, 17th ranked Tigers taking on Texas A&M. Buzz Williams, Conzo Martin chatting a little bit. Pre-game second half, 43-34 Missouri lead. PB Jeremiah Tillman with the big dunk.
That big fella spends a lot of time around the rim, and that's why he was so impactful today. He knows where he's going to make his money.
How about Mitchell Smith now? One of the Smith brothers fish.
Yeah, scary moment. Actually, a flagrant foul on that particular call, but nice to see him get up and be okay.
Texas A&M's Andre Gordon now driving, dunking it. Missouri still with the lead, 52-40. Gordon finished with 19. 4:15 to go. Mark Smith drilling the three-pointer. Missouri goes on to win 68-52. They're 27-0 when holding opponents under 60 points during Conzo Martin's time in Como. All right, let's get an update on Kentucky taking on Auburn. Second half, Auburn up 8. Sharif Cooper. Pass is stolen. Davian Mintz puts it in. Lead cut down to 6. Under a minute to go now. Devin Askew dishes to Jacob Toppin for the dunk. It's a 2-point game. Next Auburn possession. Cooper to the hoop, puts it in. Auburn goes on to get the win in this one, 66-59. A back and forth game between those two. Jaden Shackelford here with a nice first half. Bama, the 42-19 lead over the Razorbacks.
Is the salmon wild caught?
She only eats wild caught.
I need a price check on honey.
Don't get mad. Get E-Trade and get more than just trading. Investing, banking, guidance.
Verizon lets you have it all.
You don't just get Verizon 5G, you get amazing entertainment.
Get 5G from America's most reliable network and the best in entertainment. Now, new and existing customers with select unlimited plans get their favorite shows and originals on Discovery Plus.
There's always something new to watch.
We could binge that stuff all day.
And Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus are all included.
With Verizon, you get so much more than just a great network.
Unlimited plans include 5G. Plus, you'll get up to $1,000 off our best phones when you switch. Only on Verizon.
When you want to power up, go pro at Subway for double the protein on footlong subs and the new protein bowls. And if you want to go pro like Marshawn, don't let anything get in your way. Here we go. Yeah, appreciate you, man. What's up, Alice?
Hey, Marshawn.
Good call. Go pro and get double the protein for just $2 more on your favorite sub or new protein bowl. Subway, eat fresh.
You ready for tonight?
I've been training 3 years for this fight.
You know I'm the greatest.
Minister Malcolm X.
Jim Brown takes the ball.
Sam Cooke.
I was made in America.
I ain't no damn hero.
It's gonna be a
target on your back.
Welcome to America.
You brothers, you could move mountains without lifting a finger.
Welcome to America.
One Night in Miami. Rated R. Watch now. Only on Prime Video.
Some people say our trade-in process feels too easy. They can't believe it's 100% online. And gives them a competitive offer that won't change for 7 days. An offer that they can put toward their new car. Some people can't believe our friendly advocate will come to them as soon as tomorrow, drop off their new ride, and whisk their old one away. Because we make trading your car unbelievably easy. Also, you can say, "Told you so." Experience the new way to trade in your car with Carvana.
Florida Gators taking on Mississippi State. That one tipped off at 4 o'clock. Battle of the big men early on. Colin Castleton running the floor for the Gators gets the easy lay-in here. And on the other end, Mississippi State's Toulouse Smith taking it off the dribble. Gets the roll and one. He had 6 points early as the Gators lead 15-12 in this one. As we welcome you back, let's talk second half between Arkansas and Alabama. Final thoughts from you, Fish.
Well, for Alabama, they just need to continue doing what they're doing. For Arkansas, they have to score in transition. Listen, the scores are so low today. If you don't get out in transition and score, allow guys to be set up defensively, it's going to be hard for Arkansas, Pat.
Road recipe, turnovers. Arkansas had 12 in the first half. That's not going to help. And for Alabama, continue to protect the paint and defend the rim like they were successful in the first half doing.
Looking forward to the second half between these two. Arkansas has quite a bit of work to do to climb back from this 42-19 deficit. Moses Moody, 3 of his first half 14 as the Tide are rolling. Second half in just a few.
Hi.
Happy anniversary.
For what?
Every year you're with us, you get $50 toward your home deductible. It's a policy perk for being a Farmer's customer.
Really? Do I have to do anything?
Nothing.
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 Nothing?
Nothing.
That really is something.
You get a whole lot of something with Farmer's policy perks. See ya.
May I have a balloon too?
Sure. Your parents have maintained a Farmer's home policy for 12 consecutive months, right?
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
It happens. But now Straight Talk Wireless has coverage for your phone with the new Platinum Unlimited plan, which includes Mobile Protect. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus more. All on the best networks. Straight Talk Wireless only at Walmart.
Bring more wings home with B-Dubs Wing Bundles. Loads of wings and fries for takeout and delivery starting at just $9.99. That's more for less. It's simple chicken economics. The win-win value lineup at Buffalo Wild Wings. Get takeout or delivery.
We're Carvana, the company who invented car vending machines and buying a car 100% online. Now we've created a brand new way for you to sell your car. Whether it's a year old or a few years old, we want to buy your car. So go to Carvana and enter your license plate, answer a few questions, and our techno wizardry calculates your car's value and gives you a real offer in seconds. When you're ready, we'll come to you, pay you on the spot, and pick up your car. That's it. So ditch the old way of selling your car and say hello to the new way at Carvana.
Life is busy, and sometimes odors can sneak up on you. For a convenient life hack, try Febreze Unstoppables Fabric Refresher. With 2 times the scent power of regular Febreze, Unstoppables Fabric finds, neutralizes, and eliminates tough odors trapped in hard-to-wash fabrics, like couches or smelly sports equipment, leaving an irresistibly fresh scent. And for a tropical burst of freshness, try new Paradise Scent. Stop sneaky odors from lingering in your home with Febreze Unstoppables.
Smile Direct Club.
3 miles.
New year, new choices. Choose faster.
4 miles.
Choose healthier. Choose Smile. New year, new Smile. That costs up to 60% less than braces. Go from this to this. And start seeing results in as little as 60 days. Start your New Year's Smile for free at SmileDirectClub.com.
Alabama remains as red hot as it was this week. The win inside Rupp Arena, and now a 23-point lead a few days later over Arkansas. With Dane Bradshaw, the former Vols captain, Kevin Fitzgerald with you. Dane, it feels like when this team hits threes and plays the style like it has this week, it feels like Alabama is just a runaway train. And has been at times this year.
And it's not that they're a streaky team. I mean, you could say, hey, they've had a good stretch of basketball, but I don't think so anymore. They've done it so consistently now. This is who Alabama is. Now, they might not punish teams every single night the way they are today, but this is who they are. And they find people in transition. I'm so impressed with the way they move the ball. They don't take a lot of bad shots. It's drive, draw, kick, transition threes. And as a shooter, you shoot a higher percentage if you're expecting to get the ball in certain spots. And Alabama shooters are prepared for the shot, they're prepared for the pass, and as a result, they're shooting a high clip. The only bright spot for Arkansas was the freshman Moses Moody, who's so poised and has such great composure and a smoothness to his game. It is refreshing to see that even on the road, and you're getting beat up the way you are, that he's still performing with 14 points, 7 rebounds, and nobody else contributing on the offensive end.
The logo is 2 of 16 today. That's the rest of the team from the field. Moody with the 14 of the 19 points. Shackelford and Petty have combined for 21. Moody, splash right out of the gate. Now 17. That's a big boost early on. And yeah, you see, look at the runs for Alabama in that first half. Twice went on runs of greater than 9 points or more. A 14-0 and 9-0 run. That shot, that pass slash shot, whatever it was a flail, may have hit the bottom of the backboard, which would mean it's out of bounds. And, Dane, I think you're right on about shot selection. Here's that play.
They like to drive, and he's looking for what we call that. You've got your teammate in that baseline corner who knows that if you drive hard baseline, he's supposed to shift down to that corner expecting the pass.
Might have been off of an Arkansas player before it ricocheted underneath the hoop. The shot clock is at 6, and this is John Petty. Reese, head fake on the deck. Kick, Shackelford. And the rebound down to Devo Davis. Nice backdoor cut. There's Justin Smith throwing it down. That's his first field goal. The Indiana transfer has been a very valuable player in the rotation, coming back from injury. And it's nice to see Smith moving on the baseline, Dave.
Yeah, this is ball watching 101. John Petty, 23, staring at the ball. You got to see man and ball.
Hi.
Happy anniversary.
For what?
Every year you're with us, you get $50 toward your home deductible. It's a policy perk for being a Farmer's customer.
Really? Do I have to do anything?
Nothing.
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 Nothing?
Nothing.
That really is something.
You get a whole lot of something with Farmer's policy perks. See ya.
May I have a balloon too?
Sure. Your parents have maintained a Farmer's home policy for 12 consecutive months, right?
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
It's time for some straight talk. Let's face it, it happens all the time. You fumble it, bumble it, splash it, crack it. Well, now Straight Talk Wireless has phone protection that covers those kinds of mishaps with the new Platinum Unlimited plan, which includes Mobile Protect. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus more features than ever, all on America's best networks. So the next time it happens, you can keep smiling. Straight Talk Wireless only at Walmart.
Every time you touch a surface, bacteria is left behind. Now consider how many times your family touches the surfaces in your home in 24 hours. Try Microban 24. Spray on hard surfaces to kill 99.9% of viruses and bacteria initially, including the virus that causes COVID-19. Once dry, Microban forms a bacteria shield that keeps killing bacteria for 24 hours, even after multiple touches. Try Microban 24. This has been Medifax for Microban 24.
Arkansas has come out here on a 5-0 run a minute into the second half. You know, Arkansas has won 6 straight over Alabama, including last February inside this building. It was a game in which Alabama jumped out to a big early lead, actually started the game on a 12-0 run. But Arkansas kept whittling away and whittling away. Mason Jones, this was one of his 9 30-point games last year. Jimmy Witt was key as well. And Arkansas came into Coleman Coliseum and in comeback fashion defeated the Crimson Tide. Now, Dana, the comeback would be much more dramatic today after trailing by 23 at the half, but a little spark of life to start the second half today.
One of the more impressive wins that Arkansas had last year. We were there for the call. Isaiah Joe got hurt that game, but I think the difference is more about this Alabama team. That was when Herb Jones was out with injury, and they just didn't know how to make up for it in the toughness factor. They're a different team this year, and that's why Nate Oates called the early timeout to start the second half. It's not that their lead was that much in danger. It's just the tone and the presence and the composure and attitude that they came out of the second half as if they were playing comfortable. That looked like last year's team the first minute or so of this half, not the team that Nate Oates is proud to put on the court this year.
Now, the effort defending the inbound pass as well forces Alabama to call its second timeout. On Monday, SEC Inside is going to give you the all-access pass to that national championship game. The big win for Alabama over Ohio State. 6 titles over the last 12 years for the Tide. And never before seen footage. Even though it's only a week old, that's going to be available for you. It starts at 9 Eastern on Monday right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. You tried to warn me that I should have taken the over in that game. There's the lob, the layup, and Ellis is going to the line for one more. The presence, the poise at the rim to score it, and one more free throw coming.
I got to see a replay in live action. I don't see how the heck this happened. Oh my gosh. Primo goes in, throws up to his boy Ellison. Just like they drew it up. Gets a hand on it with the nice layup right off the backboard.
It was almost like a volleyball set from Ellis. Like it was just a quick touch off the window and in. The junior college transfer was at Florida Southwestern a year ago. They played on one of the best JUCO teams in the nation a year ago. Unfortunately, couldn't prove how good they were. Their postseason tournament canceled as well back in March. Alabama's lead back to 21. Jalen Williams fouled by Ellis on the bounce.
Well, it's a small thing, but Arkansas came down and they ran a pick and roll essentially with their guarder and their big man. That looks advantageous on paper, but when you have Herb Jones as the defender, he can just switch off and guard Moses Moody, or he can guard your big man, and that's what Alabama did.
Here is Moody, dials it up, and that's good.
Boy,
Moody with
tough.
his 4th 20-point game of the year.
He's such a spectacular shooter. You almost don't give his three-point shooting enough credit because he's a 3-level scorer. He can do it from mid-range. He does it around the basket. But make no mistake about it, this guy may be the best three-point shooter in the SEC.
Highly regarded freshman from Little Rock. He was the prize of the 2020 class for Eric Musselman. This is Herbert Jones at the line. Gained close to 17 points per game. But you're right, 45% from the field, 39% from 3, and 80% from the free throw line. He's actually the only player in the league
and again,
to have
this
those
may be
3 numbers, yeah.
in one of these opportunities where the positive you can take away is if the locker room starts looking at Moses Moody more as their alpha dog. And I don't know the kid's personality necessarily, but they're going to start looking for him a lot more on the offensive end with this type of performance and say, hey guys, there's no debate anymore. It's not maybe he's our best option. He is our best option. And now he has the confidence, even as a freshman, to start having the ball in his hands on a more consistent basis.
Shackelford with the immediate response. He has 13 on the drive. The layup goes. That's Jalen Tate. Quinterly fouled.
Well, here's Moody, and just the way he can get his feet set coming off this down screen. One dribble pull up. That's that three-level score I'm talking about. We've seen his ability to shoot the three, but then if you come out on him, he can put it on the deck, pull up jumper, and then being such a terrific free throw shooter as well, he seeks contact at the rim in order to get himself to the free throw line.
You're right on. 4 of 9 from 2 today, 3 of 4 from deep, 5 of 5 from the stripe. He's putting together one of his finer games. The problem is the only one scoring right now.
And the other problem is he's got a long way to go on the defensive side of the ball. He's a terrific scorer. Not the quickest lateral defender you've seen. That's going to come with time. But Isaiah Joe was a guy last year, one of the most underrated defenders in the country, who's defending extremely well at the NBA level right now. Mason Jones was such a pest on the ball, could get you those pick six type plays. And Arkansas right now is just not able to get enough off their defense.
Jones forces the turnover. Quinterly with that signature finger roll as Alabama back ahead by 22. Arkansas discombobulated on this end. Davis sticks it from 15. That's the freshman from Jacksonville, Arkansas's first basket. Quinterly on the pull-up. They just attack you from every position. 7 points for Quinterly.
And a rare mid-range shot. This is an Alabama team that scores primarily from 3 and at the rim. And so Quinterly showing you he's got that in his bag of tricks too. A welcome sight for the Crimson Tide to have such a key player and scorer back in their lineup after being out a couple weeks with a medical condition.
A redshirt sophomore from Hackensack, New Jersey. Started at Villanova. Highly coveted 5-star recruit 2 years ago. And that first year at Villanova was a little tumultuous. He didn't play as much as he thought. Transfers away. Nate Oates has said that wake-up call was exactly what he needed. Face a little adversity after a very successful high school career. And he thinks he has benefited from it.
Well, and right now I think he's benefited too the past couple of weeks being out, being able to watch the game from afar, see the team have success. Winning helps in so many ways, and it's not that Quinterly ever thought that he was going to be the hero of Alabama basketball, but it's humbling for any player. When you go out and see your team continue to win, it makes you realize, you know what? I better just be a part of this team and not be selfish, not saying he was. But that's part of the mindset as a player when you come off of an injury to say, I better buy in because I want to be in this rotation like those guys are, and they can win with me or without me.
Arkansas scored 19 points in the first half, Dane. They have 16 already in the first 4 minutes of the second half. They still are down by 20. That foul takes us to a timeout. It feels like Alabama is destined for maybe one of the best seasons in program history. Let's throw it back to arguably the best in program history. Alabama's doing things that 86-87 team was the last to do.
Hi.
Happy anniversary.
For what?
Every year you're with us, you get $50 toward your home deductible. It's a policy perk for being a Farmers customer.
Really? Do I have to do anything?
Nothing.
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 Nothing?
Nothing.
That really is something.
You get a whole lot of something with Farmers policy perks. See ya.
May I have a balloon too?
Sure. Your parents have maintained a Farmers home policy for 12 consecutive months, right?
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
It's time for some straight talk. Let's face it, it happens all the time. You fumble it, bumble it, splash it, crack it. Well, now Straight Talk Wireless has phone protection that covers those kinds of mishaps with the new Platinum Unlimited plan, which includes Mobile Protect. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus more features than ever, all on America's best networks. So the next time it happens, you can keep smiling. Straight Talk Wireless only at Walmart.
Back to the glory days. Dane remembers it like it was yesterday. The 86-87 Crimson Tide basketball team. That season, Wimp Sanderson's crew won a program record 28 games. You see the 16-2 conference record. Regular season and tournament champions as well. That team reached the Sweet 16. This is, I don't know if you could even have to include arguably, this might be the best season of Alabama basketball in program history. Dane, again, they won the SEC championship. They started conference play 8-0. This 5-0 record for this year's iteration of Alabama basketball. The best since that season 34 years ago. It feels like Nate Oates' crew is kind of destined for maybe a season like that one 34 years ago.
Well, they're making the most of their opportunity, that's for sure. And the cupboard was not bare when Nate Oates took over this program with Kyra Lewis, with Herb Jones, with John Petty. And there were high expectations in year one, which is unusual. And they came close to meeting those, but there was just something missing, and it was their culture and their understanding of the brand of basketball that Nate Oates wanted to have. And you can see what a giant step they've taken in year two. Yes, some personnel changes, but I think even more than that, it's the mindset change on the defensive end that has them on a historic run. And obviously we're dealing with the pandemic and limited capacity. But what I loved in watching that throwback film was just the fans, the stands. And so I got, me getting recruited at the SEC level, people used to always say, Tennessee, that's just a football school. They can't support, SEC teams can't support basketball. Yes, they can. Now, you better put a good product out there or they're not going to show up. Unlike football, who's going to show up regardless for the most part. But basketball, if you can put it together, there's no question some of these Southeastern Conference schools are very motivated to support a good basketball program, which Nate Oates has certainly put together here.
You win in Rupp Arena, you can start calling yourself a basketball school, which is what Alabama did a few nights ago.
I had the privilege of playing against some of the great ones, too. You asked me before the game, was Alabama, what kind of run did they have during the 03-07 years? And Ronald Steele, Kennedy Winston, I mentioned my former high school teammate Ernest Shelton, Alonzo G. There's always been some really strong talent at Alabama, but this may be not only just a talent level, but the chemistry and the cohesion and the team mindset is, I think, what really separates Nate Oates' team versus many of the past.
Moody, who has 22, offline with that floater in the paint. When you start to measure out the ingredients to success in this recipe for Alabama, yes, you've got the big brand, the football school, the power, the national championships. But then you also have the style of play that Nate Oates has brought to the table here. It's fun, it's fast-paced, it's NBA-like, spread floor, and guess what? There's been results.
And you know what else advantage he has? You know what's great about being an Alabama basketball head coach? Is that you're almost assured that every single official visit you have with the recruit is going to go terrific. Because football's going to win their game. There's going to be great parties all night long. You look at some of these other SEC schools with a struggling football, you know what? It affects the recruiting process because the official visit is going to get about a 5 out of 10 instead of a 10 out of 10 when the football team wins their big game that weekend.
I'm not going to make a joke about Tennessee football. Shackelford buckets. 16 for the sophomore. A lead balloons back to 28.
Yeah, it's go back. We're all jokes aside on the recruiting, but hosting several recruits, man. If the football team loses that day, it's like you're just trying to paint a picture of, hey, here's how cool the strip or this area usually is after a win. It's just not the same as the real thing. So Alabama in a good position from a recruiting perspective on the basketball side.
Dane, you were talking about this a moment ago. Alabama is not a team that you can fall behind against this year. Our great friend and statistician Brian Bennett has just documented, here are the number of runs that Alabama has had today. It has had an 8-0 run. It has had a 9-0 run. Also a 12-0 run. 3 separate runs where you're +8 or greater.
there are some teams in the SEC that you might be able to get away with if you have a slow start, or if you're off a little bit, don't have a focus, you climb out of a double-digit lead. But you better not try that against Alabama, because this team is wired and built to score. But the big difference is they also defend this year at a high level. And you saw Nate Oates call that early timeout when Arkansas made a small run to start the second half. He said, we don't play the scoreboard. We play every possession like it's our last. And since that timeout, they've gotten right back on track.
We saw the highlights of that Wimp Sanderson coach 1987 team. Didn't we see Nate Oates go with the checkered Sanderson-style jacket at times last year? I get everybody's dressed down this year, but
yeah, he's going to have to bring that back out. I think Auburn, Alabama, he might have done it in that game. I can't recall.
Sills, that shot wiped away by Carey. Now Shackelford. Alabama on the attack again. Petty for the record. That's good.
Go get it, John Petty. Congratulations. He's earned it. 3+ years and counting of dropping threes all over the SEC.
264 threes in his career. He is the program's all-time record holder.
What an accomplishment. You think about the number of terrific players and shooters that have played for Alabama. And the top of that list, John Petty. I will say, he better watch out, because it's not like Nate Oates isn't going to recruit some more shooters that aren't going to get their attempts up. Because that three-point record might not last as long as Brian Williams did.
Well, and it's not like he's a volume shooter. His career percentage, he's 40% from deep for his career.
And he's become so much more reliable. I think it was a year ago where it was just he was one player at home, and then on the road it was Jekyll and Hyde. And to see him get over that sort of mental hump as a shooter, I think is a big credit to Nate Oates as well, for him taking three-point shots in places he expects to get the ball within the offense, as opposed to forced random three-point attempts.
Herb Jones offline. Sills looking for his teammate Henderson, got bumped as he collected underneath. And it's the second foul on Juwan Gary. Shout out to the freshman from Columbia, South Carolina. Tore his ACL ahead of last season, missed all of his freshman year. That's his effort, his hustle plays, and scoring as well. He leaves the floor with 9 points. He's been a little everywhere today for the Tide.
Yeah, Nate Oates said that he thought he was an underrated athlete. Doesn't get a lot of attention because he hadn't had a ton of minutes, but somebody that he felt like could really step up in Bruner's absence. And you're right, he's given them some really solid minutes in this game.
Tate leaves it short. New 20 for Arkansas. Moody can't connect. Yeah, somewhere Jordan Bruner's going, hey, don't make it look too easy without me, guys. Here's Petty. His fifth three.
It's icing on the cake for Petty. I mean, you cannot leave this guy. And I'm Coach Musselman. You only got one timeout left, but that media timeout can't come soon enough, just to try to implore your players to keep playing as hard as you can, because Alabama's not letting up.
Moody, great balance. And he hits the fall away. Boy, he
that's some
is
league
turning
stuff
into a
right
star.
There. Yeah, he's got that in his bag. Mid-range, fake spin, fade away.
And Jones scores it in traffic. Moody has 24. After the missed three, Ellis steps in, fouled. 71 and counting for the Tide with 11:20 to go. John Petty for the record, Dane.
Yeah, we've only seen this now, 265 times?
Hi.
Happy anniversary.
For what?
Every year you're with us, you get $50 toward your home deductible. It's a policy perk for being a Farmers customer.
Really? Do I have to do anything?
Nothing.
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 Nothing?
Nothing.
That really is something.
You get a whole lot of something with Farmers policy perks. See ya.
May I have a balloon too?
Sure. Your parents have maintained a Farmers home policy for 12 consecutive months, right?
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
And now more Straight Talk from Straight Talk. The big wireless companies will tell you they're the only way to get the best networks. Not true. Straight Talk Wireless runs on those same cell towers all over the country.
This one too?
Not just this one too. Which means you get the same great networks for up to 50% less.
Makes sense. Can I go back now?
Oh, sorry. Switch to our unlimited plan for just $45 a month with no contract. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart.
Arkansas just a runaway, or pardon me, Alabama a runaway train right now with a 32-point lead over the Hogs. What a great week it has been, though, for some of the young Hogs and young Tide on the come-up at the next level in the NBA. These two programs have done a nice job the last several years sending players to the NBA. Isaiah Joe, Mason Jones, they were both with Arkansas a year ago. Dan Gafford the prior season. You know, Isaiah Joe this week is hitting threes for Philadelphia. Mason Jones, Kyra Lewis putting up some season-high numbers. Colin Sexton scored 25 a game for Cleveland. Dan Gafford blocking shots. We were talking to Eric Musselman, Dane. He says, yeah, each night, myself and Danielle, his wife, we flip on the NBA League Pass. We're just flipping back and forth between Sixers and Rockets games lately.
Yeah, it's exciting for those guys to be at the next level, and all due respect to Kyra Lewis and Colin Sexton, but those were players that you expected to get to the NBA. One of the most enjoyable parts of this job has been following some of the underdog stories, and even Daniel Gafford was a guy that took up basketball really late in his career. I mean, this guy was in the band, and all of a sudden he keeps getting better and better. And Mason Jones, who had great basketball bloodlines, but wasn't super talented, a little bit overweight, wasn't in great condition, did prep schools, overlooked on the recruiting trail, and gets signed at Arkansas. And just last year certainly could have been SEC Player of the Year with the numbers he put up, and to see him doing it at the next level, and he'll have more and more opportunities with James Harden out of the mix in Houston. There's a lot of FGAs to fill up.
A lot of playing time to go around now down in Houston. But Jones, he was someone in particular, as Tate draws the foul on the way in, where you're right. All of the potential was there. He was someone who wanted to be pushed like never before. Eric Musselman provided him with that. He definitely had that natural drive and competitor inside of him. Musselman helped take his game to the next level. Now he's hanging out with Boogie Cousins in Houston.
Just his refuse to lose attitude, even when things didn't look great for him on the recruiting trail. He never felt like he was out of it. He continued to chase his dream, and his confidence is something you never have to question. And could he be overconfident at times, take bad shots at times? Yes, but that's also part of the DNA that has him in the NBA.
Moses Moody has that type of drive as well. Not just their talent, but they have a commitment to studying their opponents, studying their craft, watching film, constantly asking ways to get better. Keon Ambrose Hilton into the game for the first time for Alabama. He's got it, and he just slams it down.
Sorry,
what an introduction.
Yeah. You know what they say on the streets is, I got me a footer. You dunk over somebody 7 foot plus, means you got yourself a footer.
Over the 7'3" Connor Vanover. My goodness. With authority. 3 in the air, that's down. Darius Miles connects on his first look. Note responds.
And Kevin, you do have to wonder.
33-point lead, Dane. Excuse me, go ahead.
Alabama's the more talented team, certainly the most in sync. But going back to what Coach Musselman decided to do earlier in this week, as Arkansas took a tough loss on the road at Baton Rouge, instead of resting them the next day to prepare their legs for this game, he said, you know what, it might hurt us in this game, but big picture, I've got to make our players understand what we're about. But right there, that is a highlight reel, and again, got me a footer.
The freshman from Toronto hasn't played in a week and a half. The most emphatic 2 points we're going to see today.
I tell you, and Connor Vanover's going to check out. That's a tough couple minutes for him, but he's going to continue to improve. He's got such great skill, but bottom line is he's just about a half a second late on his reaction to rebounds, to block shots as guys drive past him. His instincts are just about a half a second behind. And when you're playing against this type of speed and athleticism, that half a second makes all the difference in the world. And so a really, really promising player for Arkansas, just in a tough spot right now, given the athleticism with some of their opponents.
Yeah, this is a difficult matchup for him anyway, as you alluded to earlier. The foul's on Darius Miles. Coming up next, Vanderbilt at Tennessee. It's at 6 o'clock on the SEC Network. You can also catch it anywhere on the app. Hey, Rick Barnes, by the way, he's 1 win shy of what would be his 719th in his career. That would tie him for 20th all time on the all-time D1 wins list. So he's a win away from cracking the top 20.
And the reason he's a 1 win shy is because this Alabama team took it to the Vols. And right. it makes you wonder, why the heck are they not ranked yet? But I can just about guarantee you they're going to take a big jump come next week, because it's not only the results they've had, but it's the eye test when you see the way they have performed today.
Well, they won by 20 on Tuesday against Kentucky. The lead is 30 today. And they beat Florida by 15. Beat up Ole Miss in its conference opener. Like, they have a lot of big wins. The margin of victory has been wide. And Dane, they're the 26th team. They're right outside the AP top 25. They're 24th in the coaches poll. Ken Pom has them rated as the 22nd best team in the country. And you're right, those numbers or those rankings will improve come Monday. Moody watched it bounce out. Deep three. Tipped. Ambrose Hilton last touched it. Arkansas basketball.
And Kevin, as you look at Arkansas, things have just changed so quickly, because last time we had them was literally last Saturday, and it was a similar situation. What Alabama was doing to Arkansas is what Arkansas was doing to Georgia. I mean, they were dominating them specifically in the second half and playing some of the best basketball you've seen from them all season. But then they took their lump at Baton Rouge, and here they are against Alabama. And, don't look now, but they got a new and improved Auburn team next Wednesday. So, they're going to have to figure it out quick, because nobody in the SEC is going to be feeling sorry for them in conference play.
Third foul on Tate. Auburn next weekend on the road at Vanderbilt. And Arkansas, of course, playing in the SEC Big 12 Challenge. And who does it get to see? The other star freshman, Cade Cunningham, and Oklahoma State. Just a wide open lane to the rim for Darius Miles. You could see the hesitation. Is this going to stay open, this lane to the rim? And it did. 5 points for Miles off the bench. Vance Jackson misfires from deep. Primo, no. Ambrose Hilton, no. Moody spins, and he kisses it off the window for 2. New career high for Moses Moody. So even despite some of the troubles this week, Moody continues to impress. 26 points for the freshman.
And outside of Moody, I think everybody else, you better go late in the shot clock. Move the ball around, get a better shot, because if you just go down there and try to say this is garbage time, do one-on-one plays, this thing could escalate to a 40-point lead, because Alabama's getting the ball off of misses and turnovers, and they're pushing it down your throat on the other end.
Justin Smith leaves it short. Alabama so quick from one end to the other. Miles lost it. You know, Moody is just a freshman. It's his first year. Musselman has lauded his leadership skills. You know, after a game like this, what sort of a conversation can you have with your teammates? And conversation might not be the right word. We'll get Dane's answer on that maybe after the timeout. 30-point lead for Alabama.
Hi.
Happy anniversary.
For what?
Every year you're with us, you get $50 toward your home deductible. It's a policy perk for being a Farmers customer.
Really? Do I have to do anything?
Nothing.
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 Nothing?
Nothing.
That really is something.
You get a whole lot of something with Farmers policy perks. See ya.
May I have a balloon too?
Sure. Your parents have maintained a Farmers home policy for 12 consecutive months, right?
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
And now more Straight Talk from Straight Talk. The big wireless companies will tell you they're the only way to get the best networks. Not true. Straight Talk Wireless runs on those same cell towers all over the country.
This one too?
Not just this one too. Which means you get the same great networks for up to 50% less.
Makes sense. Can I go back now?
Oh, sorry. Switch to our unlimited plan for just $45 a month with no contract. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart.
Did you know that every single flush flings odors onto your soft surfaces? Then they get released back into the air, so you smell them later. Ew, right? That's why Febreze created Small Spaces. Press firmly and watch it get to work. Unlike the leading cone, Small Spaces continuously eliminates odors in the air and on surfaces, so they don't come back for 45 days. Just imagine what it can do with other odors.
Alabama shooting 48% from the field after knocking down 14 triples on Tuesday. It has 13 more today, 80% from the stripe. It's a runaway train with Dane Bradshaw, Kevin Fitzgerald with you. So if you're Arkansas, which definitely is capable of more than what we see today this season, what do you say that's different from the message that maybe was shared after the blowout loss to LSU 3 days ago?
I think you nailed it. That can be the difficult part when your team doesn't respond the way you want to, is, you know, you've already given that big speech in the locker room. You've already said what needed to be said after a disappointing performance. And so, you know, at this point, Coach Musselman had his tough practice, but now you got to change your mindset a little bit and say, all right, guys, we got our tails beat. It's going to be a quiet, horrible plane ride back. Look in the mirror. We're going to be off tomorrow on Sunday, and on Monday, be ready to get to work, because we're going to bounce back and we're going to beat Auburn. And that's all you can think about for next week, is beat Auburn. Forget about what happened this past week.
Musselman, the former Golden State Warriors and Sacramento Kings head man. Eddie nearly hit his 6-3. I remember what he told us yesterday. He goes, it feels like an NBA type feel to this season. There are more blowouts, he believes, than what we've seen in years past. And, of course, all of the disruptions throughout the year leading up to the season, of course, a factor involved in that. But Musselman said, you know, it's like when you're playing 2 games back-to-back or 4 games in 5 days or cross-country travel involved in the NBA. That's a lot of the times you see some more lopsided scores. You said it feels like that the way the season has played out.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that they've run up against arguably 2 of the best 3 teams in the SEC in back-to-back weeks, and it's what it is. And you go back, and I think you also have to remind your team of, hey, we were undefeated in non-conference, and the number 10 team in the country, the Tennessee Volunteers, we took down to the wire. So don't forget all the good things that have happened and what we're capable of, but also we can't accept the style of play and the effort we're playing with in this past week.
Moody tips that back in. He has now 28. So what's the answer to that question? Like what you saw against Tennessee when they held a late lead against the 10th ranked Vols, what really shined about Arkansas then?
Their balance and their depth on the offensive end, but they also can't just say, all right, because they were so successful in the non-conference play, scoring 80 points per game. It does, when you can score that much mentally, it doesn't hurt as bad when you give up a basket, because you're like, you know what, we can go back on the other end and we can get it back. Well, you can put that out the window now because your offense is struggling some. So you better change your mindset and say, we got to become elite on the defensive side of the ball, defend the 3 the way we did a year ago, and then the offense will take care of itself if we can get better on the defensive side of the ball.
Moody attacks. Went flying and missed.
Kevin, obviously the bigger story here is just how good Alabama is. And again, they've proven it. And they've taken on Tennessee. They've gone to Rupp Arena. And it's not about catching Kentucky at the right time. Yes, this is a down year for Kentucky, but that was a renewed, confident Kentucky ball club that they ran into. And they took them to the woodshed. And so I can't think of a more confident team, certainly not in the SEC, but they're one of the most confident teams in the country right now.
Alabama soon to push its win streak to 7 straight. SEC now wraps up the full day of hoops at 10:30 Eastern later tonight. The whole crew has all the highlights, interviews, analysis. It's right here on the SEC Network. Moody, the shifty move offline. Back to Arkansas. Vance Jackson shuffled the feet, turnover. Next up for Alabama, Dane, LSU down in Baton Rouge Tuesday. And I think maybe a top 25 battle.
I agree. LSU has not been getting enough attention. They have talent and athletes all over the court. I talked about this a little bit earlier in the game, but they want to punk you. They want to bully you. They want to get tough buckets on the inside. But between Cam Thomas, Javonte Smart, and Trendon Wofford, you look out there, and there's a lot of times you say LSU has the best 3 players on the whole court. And I'm not saying those guys are above John Petty, Herb Jones, and Jaden Shackelford, but they're not giving up anything either. So Alabama's not going to be able to out-athlete and out-talent the LSU Tigers. It'll be a big one. They can't celebrate this one too much because they got a huge opponent coming up Tuesday.
With T-Mobile for Business, your business has an easy choice. The largest 5G network, award-winning customer satisfaction, insanely great value. Choose all 3. Ready when you are.
Hi.
Happy anniversary.
For what?
Every year you're with us, you get $50 toward your home deductible. It's a policy perk for being a Farmers customer.
Really? Do I have to do anything?
Nothing.
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 Nothing?
Nothing.
That really is something.
You get a whole lot of something with Farmers policy perks. See ya.
May I have a balloon too?
Sure. Your parents have maintained a Farmers home policy for 12 consecutive months, right?
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Wendy's didn't start the chicken wars. They just ended them with Wendy's new classic chicken sandwich. Nothing beats this classic. Grab it now in Wendy's 2 for $5.
All right, time for tonight's All-State Protection Spotlight. Alabama's defense vastly improved in league play. Dane, it was the defense turning into offense. Juwan Gary wiping the shot away, and well, here comes the red hot top.
Yeah, and for the record, if I'm not mistaken, is this number 264, John Petty? He's earned it. Unbelievable accomplishment.
Petty with 17 points. This was Nate Oates this summer to great Kyle Tucker. He writes for The Athletic. So he goes, I could sit here and downplay expectations because that's what coaches try to do, but we're going to be good. Anything less than a high seed in the NCAA tournament, and we're going to be disappointed. I don't see any need to try to downplay it. We should be competing for an SEC championship and making a run in the NCAA tournament. He doesn't mince words, and Alabama is on the verge of winning its 7th straight game. It's at the top of the SEC and vying for its first league title in nearly 2 decades.
And I remember asking Coach Oates in one of the first games of the season against Jacksonville State that we had, I said, look, now that everybody's just excited that college basketball has started, do you feel any less pressure? And the whole focus is just on playing instead of expectations. And he said, no, not really, because, and he didn't shy away from it, evidenced by that quote. He goes, I think a little pressure is a good thing. And I was certainly naive when sports picked back up in the spring, summer. I thought there might be a little bit more lenience on poor play, performance. But ADs are chopping heads out there. The players are getting the players are getting an extra year, but nobody's giving the coaches an extra year. So this Alabama team is stepping up to the plate. But look, I do think having some of these guys returning, even though Quinterly's new, he was in the program last year. When you have more returners and more veterans, I think it's been more advantageous than ever in an offseason where players weren't able to bond and gain chemistry.
Ambrose Hilton with another bucket. And so about a month or so into the season, it's no surprise to hear Nate Oates say then, that's when our chemistry and continuity really started to click. Add in some better defense, better floor spacing. The shots are falling from deep. And yeah, this team has totally caught its stride. Now again, the key if you want to compete and make a deep NCAA tournament run is also catching your stride in March. And the timing of some of your good play as well.
Well, that's a good point. And I think it is good, though, that, look, they weren't playing great all season long. So this is not an Alabama team that I think is going to get cocky and just think, oh, look how good we are. Because you can easily point back to, yes, they lost to some good teams. They don't have any bad losses. But they weren't this version of Alabama. And I think that's humbled them some, which is going to really pay dividends as we get into February and March of them avoiding any type of overconfidence.
Henderson throws it down. Alabama's lead was 30 points for just a moment. Now it's back to 28, significant, which I'll explain why in a moment. Remember, on Monday, the SEC Inside Crew is going to give you the all-access pass to the national championship game, the big Alabama victory over Ohio State. Its 6th title in 12 years. The program's 18th, Monday at 9 on the SEC Network. Alabama last beat an SEC team by 30 or more points 16 years ago. That triple is down and the lead back to 31. Britton Johnson for three. Sills, he's had a rough night, hasn't shot the ball well today, but he's got that one, and one more coming. Dane, did you expect Britton Johnson to hit a three in today's game?
No, I did not expect Britton Johnson to get to play at time, but what a luxury it is to have that you can go deep into the bench and still run your same offense and have your shooters out there. So Johnson fitting in well, but all jokes aside, look, the walk-on, the scout team, these guys do so much for their respective programs that, you know, they have to learn the other team's offense within 2 days and run it extremely well. Give the starters and rotation guys a good look at what the competition is going to be like.
Miles drills it. 15 threes for Alabama. 29 this week in their games against Kentucky and today.
And I know it's easier said than done, but, you know, if I'm LSU, I'm looking at this game and saying, how much more do you need to see before you realize we've got to chase Alabama off the three-point line? And if that means we give up a lot of twos at the rim, then that's it. But we're going to have to make them make tough individual two-point plays at the rim. We're not going to get beat from three. And I think you got to try to keep their field goal attempts down from deep.
Zaxby's player of the game, of course. New record holder John Petty with 17, 5 triples. He now has 265 threes for his career. An Alabama program record that he'll only build upon as this season moves along. And Alabama's grip atop the SEC remains tighter. 6-0, still the best start. The league play in 34 years. Winners of 7 straight.
Well, they came out to an early lead, built a 20-point lead at halftime, and other than a sloppy start for 1 minute in the second half when Nate Oates called a timeout, this Alabama team did not play the scoreboard and put together a terrific performance throughout the game.
90 points for Bama, 15 triples, 48% from the field, 77% from the line. I mean, everything worked today. This is a freight train right now. Next up, LSU on Tuesday. Enjoy it, my friend. For Dame Bradshaw and our entire great crew, I'm Kevin Fitzgerald. Let's send it now to Alyssa Lang in our SEC Network studios.
Thank you, guys. What an impressive win from the Alabama Crimson Tide. They are still rolling through conference play. We've got another game coming up here on the SEC Network about 35 minutes away from Vanderbilt tipping off against the number 10 Tennessee Volunteers. Santiago Vescovi just had a career-high 23 points in their last outing. They were supposed to play this game on Tuesday, but it was postponed. We are playing it today as we welcome you into SEC Now. Alyssa Lang, Damian Fishback, and Pat Bradley. I think we have to give Alabama a lot of credit, Fish. We thought this was going to be a closer game than it was. They blew the doors off of Arkansas.
I'm wondering if the AP voters that we said should have put Alabama in the top 25 last week will put Alabama in the top 25 this week. It's a little challenging because you look at Alabama, who goes on the road, Pat, they beat Tennessee, and then all of a sudden they're questioned what's going on wrong with Tennessee. Maybe, just possibly, Alabama has a style and a pace that is tremendous and is going to win anywhere.
And with that, we welcome in the head coach of the victorious Alabama Crimson Tide, Nate Oates. Coach, thanks for being here. Congrats on the win. What did you say to your team before this performance?
I mean, I just told them we'd see how mature they were to see if they could bounce back after a quality win like we had at Kentucky. And, you know, and Arkansas is coming off a bad loss, and they're a good team. So usually a good team that's coming off a bad loss is going to come with everything they got. And, they switched the starting lineup up. They played 3 new starters. So I thought they were going to bring everything they had. And, and our guys responded well. So I think we got a pretty mature group. The start of the second half wasn't what we wanted. Other than that, I thought we played really well for the 40 minutes.
Coach Oates, John Maxwell said leadership is influence. And I think you have one of the best leaders in the country in Herb Jones playing with a dislocated finger. For viewers just now coming and watching Alabama basketball, what does Herb Jones mean to this team?
Yeah, I mean, anybody that's watched us play saw him last year with a cast in his hand, grabbed 17 rebounds against LSU, and, will us to a win here when LSU was really good. So, kind of, if Herb Jones can walk and breathe, he's probably going to come out there and play as long as they let him. So, he means a lot to our team. I mean, between him and Petty and Reese, those 3 seniors that have been here, they're trying to change this whole thing, the narrative, and they're doing a great job. I think our leadership from our seniors, and even Bruner that's out with his knee was talking the whole game. He's a great assistant coach today. So we've got really good leadership from our seniors.
Coach, everyone's going to ask you about offense, so I'm going to focus in on defense. Arkansas comes in averaging 88 points a game. You hold them to 59. What was the game plan from a defensive standpoint coming into this game, and how well do you think you executed it?
Really well, especially in the first half. The biggest thing we thought, we're just going to have to guard one-on-one. I mean, they play a lot of motion, and, Coach Musselman's always been really good at getting his best players in great spots on the floor and kind of isolating them, and obviously they did that for Moody tonight. I mean, Moody, we didn't do a very good job on Moody getting 28. Other than that, though, I thought we sat down, guarded, and then we weren't distracted with all the motion away from the ball. I thought our help side got pulled over where it needed to be, and when we did get beat on blow-bys, we had guys ready to help, and they weren't being distracted with all the kind of motion, distraction stuff going on the backside. So I thought we did. And then rebounding's been a huge point of emphasis. We were not rebounding the ball very well, so and they were offensive rebounding was one of their strengths, and especially with Smith coming back. He's a great offensive rebounder. We made a huge point of emphasis on the glass, and I see we had 34 defensive rebounds. They had 10 offensive boards, and so that was a lot better than what we had been doing.
Coach, just before we came on, Damian Fishback essentially said, hey, it's about time for Alabama to be ranked. Like, what are these voters doing? What do you think you proved to those voters tonight?
I mean, I'll let the voters decide that. We just got to be ready to play every game. I think our guys are playing well. I mean, our guys deserve to be ranked, but I have no decision in that. So they see what they see. We're taking care of our business, so it'll come when it's supposed to come.
Coach Oates, the game of basketball has changed. They showed how you talked about the resemblance in the increased pace of play. For someone who's watching your style, what is the biggest characteristics that really differ?